hella funny. Of course, I did mic check on you, not me. Running the intro thing.
Right?
Jamaicans.
Plays every day, yeah.
Jamaicans.
Plays every day, yeah. Plays every day,
Yeah. It's a very, very, very special episode. Momentous occasion.
Plays every day,
Jamaicans.
yeah. We make plays every day, yeah.
Hey.
We make plays every day, yeah.
Okay.
Plays every day,
Okay.
yeah.
Welcome to Playmaker as fuck. It's episode, it's episode 6. I think we're doing it moving. Oh, and check this out, Playmakers. You know me. I'm your host, Bogard Scot-Free. And you might be well aware of our sponsor, Milk and Honey. Shout out to our sponsor, Milk and Honey. Today, we brought not only one of the most renowned artists I've ever encountered personally, one of the most well-rounded individuals, family man, you know what I'm saying? A motherfucker from the street that turned himself into something greater than what motherfuckers would ever even estimate that he could become. You know what I'm saying? He's an innovator. He's an entrepreneur. He was known as one of the cleverest ones if there's 5 people in the room, he's definitely the most clever. You know what I'm saying? He's an MC, hence the name Clev MC. He's also a member of Audible Soul. But he is now known as someone that he's always been that you guys just aren't aware of. And we're introducing him for the first time right here on Playmaker AF. It's my man, Sundown Charlie!
What? Scott!
Hey!
What's going on?
Man, what's
Yes,
happening,
sir.
my brother? Oh,
Much
okay.
love.
And also, Playmakers, if you didn't, I probably wasn't clear about it. But he is the founder of Milk and Honey TX. He is, like I said, I did say entrepreneur, but I didn't say also proud sponsor because this motherfucker is keeping the lights on at the GMM network. Shout out to our sponsor who we have on. We always shout. First of all, we're always shouting you out, but you're right here with me. I'm like,
Right?
man.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
First of all, we're going to just handle some quick housekeeping and we'll get right to it. Follow us at the GMM Network. Follow me at Bogard Scot-Free World. Shout out to our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX. Fuck with all their CBD goodness for all your CBD wellness at www.milkandhoneytx.com. And I want to, once again, formally introduce Sundance Charlie. Tell them where they can find you.
Yo. I'm on the IG. Hit me on the gram at Clev MC. You can also find me at the Head Nod website, Head Nod Music Group, part of that. And yeah, man, just hit me up. Shout out to Head Nod. Shout out Head Nod.
Hey, okay. So this is one hell of a story to unpack. Hold on, let me take off my jacket. All right. This is one hell of a story. We're gonna need some elbow room. Playmakers, I hope you got your drinks ready, and I hope you got some rolled up. I'm about to do all that simultaneously right now. You know what I'm saying? It's one hell of a story, and I'm gonna let you take the lead. Where should this story start? Because obviously there's entrepreneurism, obviously there's artistry, there's all kind of elements to this story, but I want to take it to when you was a wee tyke. You know what I mean? Because music is obviously, our common denominator. You know what I mean? Life living. We're both Sagittariuses, so
Yes,
I know I could relate to your perspective on things, and I want you to take it all the way back to when you was a wee tyke. Let me know how old you was when you could remember when music started becoming one of your loves, because everyone loves music, but for artists there is a time where it starts registering with them, where they're like, I'm about to make music one day. You know what I mean? Or you start hearing the music in a different light. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
let's take the Playmakers to that point in time, because this is one hell of a journey.
Word. Well, shout out to you, Bogard, man. I mean, we got to give you some love. I mean, the Playmakers as AF has been, on the money about every kind of interaction going on with the fantasy football. I mean, you want to talk about innovators. You are one, fly as fuck innovator yourself.
Hey,
so, you got to give it up, scot free, Bogard. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Ever
listen,
since I
tried.
met you, bro. Ever since I met you, man, your music, your artistry, everything that you do, bro, you do it with so much style and flair. So, you know what I'm saying? Shout out.
I appreciate that so much, and I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna lie and say I don't do compliments well. I do them very well. I love it. I love recognition. And I only love recognition when it comes from peers that I respect as well. I have a high. I mean, you are very. What's the word? I admire. I admire you as a man, as a father, as an artist. You know what I mean? As a businessman. I mean, even just as a confidant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've able to have conversations with you, and you always level with me. You know what I mean? It's just I feel like, granted we don't have X amount of years, you know what I mean? As far as our relationship goes, but like in the window of time that I have been rocking with you, it's been nothing but solid. And at this time in our life, at this day and age in our life particular, like, the people that you become close with, if you weren't already close with them, it's usually circumstance driven. So in this case, we're under the same umbrella. You are also not just under the umbrella. You actually hold the umbrella over, cats like me and everybody. And I'm not saying that to degrade myself or others at all. This is actually something I'm proud of, because I feel like I'm in. It stays raining, and what I'm saying, if motherfuckers like you is holding that umbrella over us, I feel great. You know what I mean? That's why even when you finally went public with Milk and Honey, you know what I mean. We had the talk, and you wanted to sponsor my crazy madness that we call podcasting. You know what I mean? And I mean, everything I gotta say, bro. Like, and I'm glad to have you on the show to tell you on air personally. This is no jaws. This is no cap. That I'm so grateful for what you've done for me, because you might not understand the magnitude of what having a sponsor is from the outside looking in, but people have took our podcast so serious from the beginning because we had a legit sponsorship. And with that said, it's like, because, whether it was people finding us, through Milk and Honey, or finding us, on their own, you know what I mean? They knew that the quality was there with the product of the sponsor. They knew the quality was there with the product of our podcast. And it's just, we've become symbiotic in that sense. And I really just, one of my goals, to fulfill, what entails to be sponsored is, I feel like I hope I fulfill just helping bringing success to the products, helping bringing awareness to the brand, because Milk and Honey TX is medicine. This is necessity, or in this day and age with the Corona climate confinement, this is essential. You know what I mean? Like, people need medicine that is all natural. People need things like this that aren't gonna, fix one part of your body and then ruin another. Like painkillers, for example. They can heal the pain, but then they ruin your liver and your kidneys and shit like that. And then, long story longer, I love what your brand represents. I always stand by that. If this brand is sponsoring us, that we have to hold ourselves in a certain standard and to a certain manner, because of the fact that we have a stand-up sponsor. You know what I mean? And like, I want to thank you again before we get into this journey, and also thank you for the props. You know what I'm talking about? I will gladly take the props. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
I mean, I don't just hand those out though. I really respect the artistry, you and her. I respect what you bring to Head Nod. I respect Head Nod. Sell one. My man, Mr. Epic.
Yep.
All
Shout
of
out
it.
to.
I mean, I think what we got, Mark Price, Mr. Price. I mean, what we got as a consortium, collectively cross-pollinating, promoting each other, believing in one another,
Ooh, that's a good
and
word
making
right
each
there.
other better. I think that's what it's all about.
Okay, check this
Yes,
out.
sir.
Check us out. Check us out. Sundance or SDC. Can I call you SDC?
Yeah, you call me. It's sundown.
Yeah, my guy. I because sundown. hey, under over 5 times. I'm gonna call you Sundance, Charlie.
That's all good.
Yeah,
that's all good.
I'll take the over. I'll take the under. Fuck that. I'm gonna win this bet. Anyways, shout out to Irv. Shout out to Head Nod Music Group. You know what I mean? I strongly believe in the universe. It all brought us together. You know what I mean? I'm at a time in my life where I love being appreciated. Because I'm always comfortable in my own skin to tell the next person how great I think they are. And I think when you're a younger man and when we're all running around like young knuckleheads, there's a level of ego that controls that steers the ship. You know what I mean? And like as I got older, I learned humility and I learned to be humble because I've been humbled. And it's just one of those things, man. Like what I mean, I like I said, I like to surround myself with. I like to believe I'm a reflection of who I surround myself with. And right now, as it stands, right here on the GMM network, right here on episode 6 of Playmaker as Fuck, I am surrounded by good company.
Yes, sir.
Jamaicans.
Shout out, Jamaicans.
Jamaicans,
Yes,
wake
sir.
them up, look it. Wake them up. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Hey.
So let's take it back. Let's take
Okay.
Sundown before, before Sundown Charlie, before Clev MC. You know what I'm saying? What take me back to some early times and what artists and music were like it really resonated with you. And then we'll build on from there.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. Before Clev MC, before Clever MC, before Sundown Charlie. I know I was going to go where you was going to go, B. But before all that, there's this cat named Carl Brown. I'm a Bay Area native, youngest of 5 children, born to a military vet, Vietnam War vet. My father.
Yep, shout out.
Shout out my dad. Carl Brown Sr. And,
oh no way! So are you a CJ?
I'm not a CJ.
No, because 100% in my family, I'm CJ.
You CJ too?
Yes. Look at that.
Okay.
Look at the universe.
I mean, not only are we Saggies, not only is it Saggy CJ,
And then
we CJ.
yes, we're CJs. And then on top of that, me and Ep, we have the same goddamn birthday. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That's the universe, bro.
I love it. Yeah, so youngest of 5 children, the only boy, surrounded by girls. My father had kids everywhere he was stationed.
Nice.
From across the universe, and I happened to be the last. And so, essentially, my mother's father was a Cherokee Indian,
Okay.
and mixed with Cree. And so, essentially, I'd go back to Cleveland, Ohio, is where my people's from.
Word.
Cleveland, Ohio, Illinois, down through Memphis, Atlanta, all them Midwest states.
Yeah.
That's the bond that me and Mr. Epic have.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off, but I was about to say that there's a nice correlation with you and the other half of Audible Soul, Mr. Epic himself. Also, shameless plug, episode 4 now available by the time you're hearing this, episode 6, because he, our man Ep is episode 4, and he was actually the segue episode to doing this one right here. Go ahead and continue.
Right on. Oh shit, that's what's up.
Oh yeah,
what's up? Mr. Epic, Jamaican Horns, Mr. Epic. All right. Yeah. So essentially, my grandfather would, I go from tearing up the house to burning up the field next door to whatever. but it would always be after dark, and my grandfather would always have a beer in his hand, be hella drunk, and always look at me and call me Sundown Charlie. He'd be like,
Nice.
Grandpa, Sundown Charlie.
Oh, I didn't think we'd get the origin story right out the gate. I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
I was about to say that. I was about to say because he was trying to fuck around when the lights was out. You know what I mean? He was like, we are naturally creatures of the night. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, exactly. He could never put me to sleep. Nobody in the house could put me to sleep. I was always nocturnal, up hella late. So he'd always call me Sundown Charlie.
Yeah.
The last of the Mohicans. So
yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. Go on.
Yeah, so, born in the 70s, my father was in bands all his life. He's actually in the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But for the record, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Ohio, correct me?
It is in Ohio,
yeah. So it's all the same, you know what I mean? Like, it's all the same to me. The honor is there. I love that.
Yes, sir.
I love that.
All the major players, all the major shows. If you was on the Chitlin circuit, because there was a time where you couldn't perform, where all the white
as colored individuals,
as colored people, there was only one road, and there was a Chitlin circuit, and all those venues was up and down from Memphis, Tennessee, all the way through Cleveland, and Cleveland was really a bellwether, and so many bands were playing there. So my father was part of a band called the Hepsters, and the Hepsters and the Five Stars.
Wait. Run that back. The Hempsters, like hemp?
No, Hep.
Oh, okay.
Hepsters.
I was gonna say, oh shit. No, that's still cool too. The Hepsters. Okay. Go on.
So my dad actually sang. He played the guitar, and he played the bass. So for all his bands that he's been in. So yeah, the Hepsters are part of the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And my father in the military always played bands, no matter if he was in Guam or the Philippines or wherever he was at.
Shout out to Guam and the Philippines.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I am Filipino. I had to, you know what I'm saying? Just throwing that out there.
I gotta say that I'm part Filipino. My dad remarried, and he's still married to a Filipino lady.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
We're gonna touch on that later. I want to ask you about certain Filipino foods because our shit be looking crazy sometimes. If you're not knowing that it's delicious, you might think it looks crazy. Okay, but yeah, go on.
Okay. Yeah. So essentially, man, I've been, I was born in music, and my sisters all sing, and so I, grew up playing the drums just to be a part of the band. But we were influenced at that time, of course, by the Jackson 5.
Oh, yeah.
My father, did a lot of covers of the Temptations. That was his favorite band. And the Spinners, Delphonics, OJs. Al Green, the Staple Singers.
In that era, in my household, my father, he was all about the stylistics. You know?
Oh!
Yeah. I was very aware of the OJs and very aware of the Temptations, but my dad loved him some stylistics. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, all those bands, if you think about it, were playing, when I was a youngster. Yeah. And so that I didn't really come of age until, my father would always sing to me all the time when we go get groceries or we, go do whatever we need to do. The Stylistics was one he had, Bet You Buy, Bet You Buy Golly.
You're the only one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know what was my one? Is I used to watch my dad do this to my sisters, right? Sing this song. Not do this, that sounded wrong. He used to sing this song, You're a big girl now.
Yeah.
You're my daddy, little girl. Wow. Right? And I remember, dog, my sisters used to hate that shit because he would sing it and be like, he would be annoying with it. And bruh, I do the same shit to my daughters now. I play that song and they can't stand it. I sing it loud. I try to hug them. They're like, Dad, stop.
Real talk, real talk. So one of the ones that he always sang to me was one with Bill Withers.
Oh, shout out to Bill Withers. Which one?
Yeah.
I love Bill Withers.
Just the two of us.
Oh, yeah. Just
Yeah. The two of us.
We can make it if we try.
Just the two of us. Yeah,
You
man.
and I. And then the saxophones is the part.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the joint. Okay, go on.
So I always remember that I grew up on that one, and shout out to you on the boat on singing to your kids, because that's the one song me and my daughter sing today together. I sang it to her a long time ago, and she carried it.
No
forward,
one.
so
Which one? That same one?
Yeah, just the two of us.
Nice. That's fucking awesome, bro.
It's pretty dope. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah, music has always been around me. I think Stevie Wonder, and I started really coming of age when I started, really understanding Earth, Wind, and Fire. And,
oh yeah.
And
for those,
the 80s really.
For those of you playmakers, for all you playmakers out there that aren't aware of Earth, Wind, and Fire, their music is not only great, but the ideology behind their music. You know what I'm saying? Their ideology that love is fuel to the vessel. Like it's fucking an amazing ideology. I encourage all you playmakers out there to go fuck with some Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I'm saying? Some of your favorite artists out there, anyone from Jay to Kanye, they've all sampled Earth. Bro, they're the truth. Okay, go on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So you discovered Earth in the 80s. In the 80s, is this when you started to discover, hip hop? Because I know this was like the birth age of hip hop.
Yeah. So this is like at that particular time, there was like I could say Curtis Blow, but before Curtis Blow,
oh hell,
there was like a bridge. There's a bridge. There was a bridge. It was the Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh yeah.
And then there was I had their 45. My sisters had their 45.
Oh nice.
And we was spinning that shit.
The hip,
and it was just like
the hip to the hip, the
exactly.
hip, the hop, and the don't stop and rock it to the bang bang,
Up jump the rhythm of the beat.
I said, what you hear is not a test.
I'm rocking
to the beat. So hard.
Yes, sir. So my sisters were big, and I really started to enjoy the music that they were listening to. So, we would get the brothers.
That's right, because you're the youngest.
Exactly.
So a lot of the immediate, it's natural for immediate influence to come from elder siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, they are they the precursor to your you finding hip hop?
Yeah, because when my sisters purchased the 45, the Sugar Hill Gang 45, it was right after they picked up what was it? It had to be either Diana Ross or the Brothers Johnson.
Oh, I love the Brothers
45.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Come on, man, stop this.
Bro.
We need a night. We need a night.
Bro,
we need a night.
Okay, me and you, we're gonna sample this one. You know that? You know what I'm talking about? That's the one right there. That is the part. Oh my God, we're gonna.
That guitar.
Oh my God, that guitar is so wet. You know what? I'm gonna cut this part out of the podcast because we're gonna sample it before anyone else does. I'm just playing. I ain't cutting shit out. Yes, go on, go.
So they have bought that, and then that's officially when it really started to get in. And then I started to listen to it. I was real tough with Michael Jackson, and somewhere between Brothers Johnson, Stevie Wonder, Rick James, and Michael Jackson, Rufus and Shaka Khan, there was this movie that came out called Beat Street.
Oh, wow. Beat Street's so great.
I know. And Beat Street just changed everything. So I went from,
Beat Street was so hard. Like, I was probably like 7 years old. and my older cousins, every we're Filipino motherfuckers. Or just like anybody in the late '80s and early '90s, people were trying to become one of the elements. There was 4 elements in hip hop, right? There was the MC, there was the DJ, there was the producer, there was the graffiti. You know what I mean? Like there was the breakdancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just had to be one of them. And that Beat Street was one of those movies that was so influential. You know what I mean? Playmakers, while you're in Corona climate confinement, go ahead and look up Beat Street. Hell of a movie. Go on.
Oh yeah. So that just changed everything. You went from Michael Jackson's Human Nature, Thriller. No, not that one.
Off the Wall.
Off the Wall.
Yep.
Off the Wall.
Tonight, gonna live my 9 to 5 up on the show.
Yeah. Just enjoy this. Come on, stop it. We need a drink, a joint, and some Michael Jackson. We good.
Well, with that said, are you poured up? What you sipping on right now?
Right this moment, I actually am in my office, but I am going for the scotch. I got some. I tried some new Japanese whiskey out. And I'm a huge fan.
Yes, I do know you are. You are of the Hibiki crowd. You are of the what's the other one you drink?
Yamasaki.
Yes, there's been plenty of times where I may or may have not have underestimated the scotch that you bring through. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There's a new one that I'm messing with called Kisayama. And that shit.
Kisayama, give me money.
Kisayama, give me money. Kisayama, give me money.
Kisayama, give me money.
Yes. I'm real live on Kisayama.
I can hear you opening the bottle right now. I like that.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on, let me go ahead and open
because I love the build up right now. We're building up a night. We had already established a little bit of a foundation of this timeline. Of Clev MC, of Sundown Charlie, you know what I'm saying? The sun hasn't quite set yet, so we're leading up to that right now, you know what I'm saying? Yes, right. Okay. So now, while you're also, just to let you know, we are on keto. We're on a keto diet over in the house of Bogard. Over here at the GMM network. So we are sipping on Tito's vodka. Tito's, give me money. Bud Light, give me money. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm on the affordable essentials right now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so where we left off? We left off on So you go from Michael Jackson Off the Wall, right? Now you're jumping to you're already introduced to hip hop, and hip hop is in its early blossoming stages, right? So I don't want to date you by any means, right? By saying by putting you in the timeline at what age, but what age were you by this time? When you're falling in love with hip hop and just music in general, like where were you at right here in the 80s? Were you already like 10, 11?
I was what was I? Nah, I was early. Like that was.
Oh, you were like 6 or 7 then.
Seven, 8.
I forgot. You're born in the late.
That was 10. Yeah, I was 10, 11 actually. Yeah.
What are you like 79?
Yeah, I'm like 80 right now. I'm sheltered in place because I'm worried with my age group. I don't have any.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I meant like 79, as in like the year. Yes. Listen. I am so old. If you want to talk about wisdom, or even in your case, we are fucking like 100 something. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But okay, but at this time.
I'm still, my mind, though, man. It's my mind that keeps me fresh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to God. I mean, that's 79, 80. So, yeah, I was 82, 81. I was 10, 11 years old. So, yeah, that's hip-hop right there for me.
Yes.
Because I started breaking. Yes, sir.
Ooh, what was your signature move, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, man, when I was breakdancing?
Yeah, so what was your go-to?
Back then, I did the Thomas Flair.
Ooh.
That was the Flair was my shit. I will crab. I was crabbing.
Oh, these are all power moves. By the way, they're in
Yes,
break.
sir.
Check this out, playmakers. In breakdancing, there's two categories. There's style and there's power. You know what I mean? And he just said crab, and he just said flare, a Thomas flare to be specific. And these are incredibly difficult maneuvers to pull off. You need a legit amount of core strength, bro. Power breakdancing is some other style. On the other hand, is all the dance moves and swag they would do before they start hitting said power moves. You know what I mean? It was kind of like to dress up the power moves. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So you're hitting them with the crab and flare, and
Yeah.
this is your preteen years.
Yes. Yeah. And then, cardboard boxes, battling.
yeah.
Break battling.
Right.
I
Fucking
was.
dance
I
groups.
still. I didn't have a dance group per se, but we would just have one-offs, and we would we'd have a crew. But it wasn't an official group.
Was there a
because
name of the crew?
We called it the B-Boy Posse. It was me and my boy.
The
my boy,
BBP. Love it.
Yeah, we called it the B-Boy Posse, and basically it was like 3 to 4 of us, and we would always do our damage at down the street in McLaughlin at the Gould Theaters.
Oh my
And shout out
God.
to the Gould Theaters,
Bro.
the Gold Theaters.
Okay, the Gold Cinema.
Gold Theaters, yeah.
I remember. Was it Gold Theater or Gold Cinema? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Gold Cinema, or what? I don't
Yeah,
remember either. But
yeah, it was definitely Gold something, but Gold Theater, Gold Cinema. Yeah, it was right off McLaughlin. It was right behind the Denny's that exists nowadays, right? And
Yeah.
it's crazy because I have a story connected to the Gold Cinema where I was too young to remember that, but when I was in my early 20s and I was about to have my first child, I was looking for a new location for my studio because I had my own business. You know what I'm saying? Like, back when running studios was real lucrative. You know what I mean? And I took a long look at the Gold Cinema because there was a guy I knew. He was a realtor, and he was like, "Bro, you could rent a portion of this." And like essentially the owner of it eventually was like, it needs to go to one party individually. You know what I mean? Because I was about to rent out just one of those theaters and flip it. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. No, I just wanted to. Okay, so you guys used to break dance, and you guys used to be at the Gold Cinema, Gold Theater, what have you.
Well, and it was interesting. None of us had a car. We were too young to do anything. So the only time we could really go do our thing was at the theater. Our parents would drop us off.
Yeah.
And they keep it. So how you would hustle. You drop off. Right when it opens, and you would just be there all night long, watching hella movies. Like that's what we would do.
Oh yeah. Hey, shout out to all you young playmakers that won't even know what a movie is, a movie theater experience, or a fucking drive-in, or any of those things, bro. Because we had those growing up in San Jose.
Yeah, it was dope. So we would do our battles, right there on the bottom of the theater. And we would just get them up right there. So I think one of the most iconic times as my time as a little b-boy, because we never actually traveled to battle, but we would just do it where we showed up, and it was so popular, and it was just everybody was breakdancing, everybody. So you would go see some cat that would bust a move and couldn't really pop right, or couldn't hit that move as tight as you.
And then they would boo him off the stage.
Yeah, you would just go up in front of him and be like, and then you would hit him with a skittle or hit him with an up real quick.
Up rocking was my favorite by far. I had an affinity for pop locking and shit like that, but up rocking was the shit. Because up rocking was like what the D-boys could do, because look, I ain't finna get on the ground and dirty up my clothes. I'm just gonna do one of these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The D-boys was on. If there was a dope boy in the '80s when he was rocking with some B-boy shit, he was an up rocker. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so prior to really breakdancing, I was pop locking. in that, you would get into, the whole fluid. So I wasn't as hard as a popper, although I popped, pretty good.
Yeah.
But my pop locking was better, but because it had more of a fluency to it, right? You could jump to it, had more rhythm and had everything, and so you could just hit your pop lock. So basically, it blended well into me, getting right into breakdancing, because that's what I'm a high energy dude, and I like, to move fast, and I like to, style. I like to, so I would integrate a lot of my popping, and my
you would utilize your popping as like transitions and shit.
Exactly.
Into different moves.
That's what would make me unique with my dance style, and I would kill a lot of cats with that. At the movie theater, we just like blow them away. It would be dope. Some of my other cats could my crew, he could hit, my boy Yen could always like hit the continuation.
Shout out to Yen. Was he an Asian?
Nah, Yen, my boy.
Okay,
Yen,
I was gonna say, because them Asian boys was killing the game too, right?
Hey,
right, them Asian boys was breakdancing in a motherfucker. Okay, go on.
So this is what's so beautiful about Eastside San Jose in the 80s, and
yeah.
I mean, everybody that was in Eastside San Jose was brothers. I mean, it didn't matter like if you was Filipino, Mexican,
Samoan,
Black,
Indian, Mexican, Nicaraguan, and then the blacks. Or everything they consider black, Panamanian, Dominican, it didn't fucking matter. We had it all. We had it all,
and we grew up. I mean, and we would have our little cliques and our little hangouts. But if somebody would ride, and there would be many other cities that would ride, and you just knew when EPA came in the house, you was like, "Ooh, this is not one you want to take tonight because they kill people." Like it's like,
oh yeah, yeah,
right.
Shout out to all the roads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the roads, they come through.
Yeah, they ain't
but there's an interesting plug on that. That's, if we fast forward to Milk and Honey, my partners today, they're all
shout out
from
to
that
Email.
era. Email, Band-Aid, the Hood Star, and Bud, Sticky Icky Bud, all them brothers are real solid. But, flashing back, San Jose, that's how we grew up. We grew up real close together and integrated. So, there's a certain style, there's a certain hustle that comes from growing up here because our parents all moved here for better opportunities.
Yes. Okay. Can I? Okay. So I wanna share something real quick. So I am a first generation born Filipino American. Yeah. I'm a mestizo. I'm a mutt. I got like 38% Spanish blood in me, so I don't look Filipino. I look like a Hispanic, right? But and proud. I'm not ashamed of it at all. I love it. I love that I stand out as far as like me being a Filipino. I stand out. Bitches loved me growing up. Shout out to my ancestry, because you guys gave me the dimples that I needed to succeed in, right, as a young tyke. But the reason I point this out is because when my pops came from the PI. He was 19 years old, went straight to San Francisco in like 78.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he stayed there for years. The Zodiac Killer was going on. You know what I mean? The Niners weren't who they are, at all at the time. And then they get Joe Montana. And then like all of a sudden, the tides change and then they're winning Super Bowls. And like, the city started being viewed in a different light. Like, there was some positive shit. And like, I was born in 84, and by this time, in 83, they had already moved to San Jose because everybody was telling him, even his compadres that were in the Philippines with him, they were like, "Oh, where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to California." They're like, "Where?" They're like, "Where?" He was like, "San Francisco." And they said, "Well, whatever you do, just make your way down to San Jose, because San Jose is a young, thriving city." And this is what's crazy is like, my parents, they were part of the Silicon Valley movement. They worked in tech, early tech, you know what I mean? Trimble Navigation, Silicon Graphics, all that shit, right?
Fairchild.
And it's crazy because to have the wherewithal for someone to give you that piece of knowledge, like, hey, bro, yeah, you're going to San Francisco, but you need to make your way down to San Jose because the Silicon Valley is going to be popping. Like, to have the wherewithal, you know what I mean? So I'm very proud of my what my dad did and did for my life, because I grew up in a place that had a bunch of other first generation born minorities, and you know we all had these different values. We all had these different values, but we had a common denominator that our folks came from somewhere else, and that we had to get it up out the mud because they wouldn't finna let up on us. The matter of fact, they might have did too well for some of us, where it was like, okay, now we gotta try to outdo them, and by this time we're living in an area that was ever rising as far as market value and just like job opportunities. Like, we are from a thriving place that still to this day is transforming and growing, and I mean you can attest to that, right? So okay,
for sure.
So go on. So so now are we breaking into the 90s right here? We're breaking into the 90s.
This is as we get into the 90s. I mean, so this era of hip hop just defines, you know, who we are, you know, who I became.
Who us in particular, right? The 90s hip hop.
The 90s is golden era. Like, I mean, to be rooted in the 70s with like Sugar Hill Gang.
Can you run that back one more time? You said in the 90s, hip hop is what shaped us, right?
The 90s golden era of hip hop, man.
The golden era, really, Playmakers. You hear that? It's time for
golden era.
Hey, I don't want to date us, but at the same time, when we were coming up in the game, the 80s, as far as sampling, was the joint. Right now, all you young artists are sampling the golden era. I want all y'all to become a hip hop historian and really appreciate that golden era, because they don't call it the golden era for nothing.
Right.
All right, go on.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Hey, you know that. I mean, you say that, you know, with so much conviction because it's true.
Yeah.
And the to come up to be inspired by breakdancing and to have the heritage of the Delphonics and the stylistics and, you know, the music that was being the OJs, to actually listen to the music and my father playing it, singing it to you. I mean, it's inside of me, right? And it was inside of every one of us, because that's what defined us. But then to loop it and sample it and to do, you know, what like a Tribe Called Quest would do.
Oh, you're right. Because they were innovative.
Boogie Down Productions would do, or with, like, I mean, it's just amazing, you know, to come up during that era where, like, you know, it was your artistry that truly defined you as an MC.
Yeah, or can I take a shot at it? Not only the artistry, but the individuality.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
That's an era where they would shit on you if you sounded like someone else. You had
exactly
to, right. We're living in the modern era. It's about riding someone else's wave. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe not to us per se, but you know, that's what sells, is just sound alikes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Producers alike. You know, artists, singers, rappers. You know what I mean? Rap styles.
Yeah.
There's nothing regional really anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you know, before music used to be regional. Like, hey, I'm from New York, you sound like New York. Hey, I'm from Cali, you sound like the West Coast. Now it's like, or used to be like, yo, there's a lot. Oh yeah? Well, I say there's hella. And you'd be like, oh, you're from Northern Cali, right?
right.
Your lingo used to, your native tongue and linguistics would determine where you're from. Like, if you were like, yo, what it do? You'd be like, oh, he's from Texas. Or you like, and you know what's funny is in today's day and age with social media, we have like one language. Like, you know, we used to be like, it's cracking, or like, or we getting hyphy. And then in the South, they would be like, oh, it's crunk. Now, universally, they're like, it's lit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the day. Yeah. Okay, but yeah. So now in the 90s, tell me the artist that really resonated you. I mean, I'm not gonna be mad if you say Jay-Z, but I know Jay-Z really came on in the mid 90s, right? as far right because
Yeah.
I know he's our fellow Sagittarius. I happen to think he's the GOAT, right? But
he's the GOAT because he did what LL Cool J did 10 times
tenfold.
better than what, yeah. Right,
but
we
he
all thought
and he also
LL,
did it the opposite. He also did it the opposite as far as age wise. Like LL blew up. He was 16, 17. When Jay got notoriety, he was like 26, 27. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he told people he had to wait.
Yeah.
He told people. I mean, and that's what's fascinating about Jay and how he started not being such recognized as a lyricist.
But because he was a real dope dealer.
He was a dope boy. I get it.
Yeah, where you don't want to be in the limelight where it was like, fuck dog, if I start doing his music and he knows he's good. He knew he was good. He was like, I'm good, man. People are gonna look at me. He's like, I can't be moving all these bricks. He's basically talking about what he's doing, and then because of that, he started finding super slick ways to rap about the shit, and you really had to like decipher what he was saying.
Yeah.
You had to understand the dialect of the street language. If you didn't know, then you didn't know. You know what I mean? And like Jay, and obviously we claim to fame, me and you, with Jay because he's our fellow Sagittarius and he's the best.
I mean, yeah, but you know what? On the love, you know, at the time he was rising, I thought there were so many better MCs out there, right? Like it was just he's
okay. So on that note, which one do you remember? To your memory, as far as your memory calls, who was the artist or artists that you remember that you were like, yo, he's shitting on Jay, like Jay? Because I'll tell you this much, Jay-Z, my Hova appreciation didn't come until the Blueprint. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I started going back. Because, I grew up on the West Coast. Tupac raised me. He was on some fuck Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Where I was like, fuck Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Shout out to Jay-Z.
So, before we get into this huge monologue of diversity of rap, because that's why I say it's hard for me to answer who is the one, because there's so many.
Yeah. Growing
up here in the West Coast, there's one on the West and there's one on the East, right? But, West Coast music, when I came up, I would say I'm more of the school of like Freestyle Fellowship. Like, AC Alone.
Shout out to, oh my God, bro. I mean, AC Alone is my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, there's Mike and I, right?
Yeah.
No. Mike and I is the group, right? Or is that the individual?
No, Mike and I is the MC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, but AC Alone, because there was a third party too. They were all solo artists, but they all fucked with each other in the Freestyle Fellowship. But AC Alone was my guy, bro. Oh my God, Jamaicans. AC Alone was so hard to me.
Yeah.
He was lyrically influenced a lot of, like, him and San Quinn, oddly enough. You know what I mean? Like, because they're both so different. But San
Quinn, I put San Quinn in the show. So, like, we talk about this whole, like, music. For me, I went from, I didn't start out rapping. I started MCing much later, right? Okay. I was just such a fan of the game, like from a B-boy to being around the graffiti to being around just the element. I became a promoter. So that wasn't until college, but throughout high school, I was defined by like a Tribe Called Quest or a Pharcyde or Spice One or Ice Cube or NWA it was just too much like fusion going on.
It was the golden era.
Yeah, it was just amazing. That was what the shit was going on. But the West Coast, I ride it with the West because that's where I was. So Too Short was my like guy, or Spice One, or you know what I'm saying? Like
Spice Weezy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So or Drew Down, like I have all
Drew
of them.
Down. Oh my God, can you feel me?
Right?
I said a deep down and dirty, grew up hella early.
But so my love for hip hop went into like the RBL posse, right?
Yes,
like them,
JT the
like
bigger
that,
figure.
JT the bigger figure. Like it went
cool
regional.
Nut.
But let me tell you,
211.
I've always been fascinated by like lyricism. I've just like so the godfather to me of lyricism was KRS-One. Like I couldn't.
Oh yeah, shout out to Professor Chris.
Yeah, man. I mean, he just brought it every single time. Like, man, he would just battle folks. So that B-boy in me, that battle cat, like that cat resonated with a KRS-One, right?
And then, for those of you who don't know Playmakers, quick history on KRS-One. He's from the Bronx. He's from the Boogie Down. That's where this whole thing originated from, as far as we know. As far as claim to fame, and I agree with it, hip-hop originated from the Bronx. And KRS-One, he was one of those dudes, he had knowledge in his raps, but he was also controversial. He was also confrontational. He was one of the first dudes who battled on wax. The Bridge is Over. Remember that song? The Bridge is Over. Yeah. Okay, go on. Go on.
So I'm trying to just like summarize it. There's just too much. It's too dense. Like with all of this that happened, right? But you got out of all of that as we progressed beyond it in the golden age. We had, who was it? We had Tribe Called Quest, Brand Nubian.
We had Farside.
We had
Sons of Mischief,
Lords of the Underground,
Hieroglyphics.
Right? You know Hyros.
Guru.
So we had what were they called? What was the crew? Queen Latifah's crew with Naughty and with Tretch was the Flavor Squad, right?
Yes.
The Flavor Squad.
Oh,
and then you had Heavy D, and like you had all that, right? But those
Too Short and the Dangerous Crew, even. Yeah,
the Dangerous Crew.
That was during the time where you had to be a front runner, but you also had a crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So you think about all that was going on, but what defined me was lyricism. So cats like the Wu-Tang, like cats like Talib Kweli and Mos Def, and cats like all of them that was talking conscious. They had something to say, but they would murder you with
gritty with the lyrics, gritty lyricism, just fucking gold. The epitome of the golden era. Also, I love that you're pointing Wu-Tang and Black Star and individuals like that. I'm glad that you're highlighting them because this is the late 90s, mid 90s to the late 90s and early 2000s where these motherfuckers were the standard of hip hop in the commercial world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because not to short side Tupac at this time. Oh yeah,
and Digital Underground.
He had died. Right? I was talking about because he died in '96, and the industry kind of buried the West Coast along with them to a degree. You know what I mean?
They tried to.
Yeah. In the commercial world. Yeah. In the commercial landscape. That's why Bay Area was definitely an innovator of independent record labels. We're a fucking innovator of what's going on right now today. With a lot of these artists coming up independent, their blueprint came from the Bay Area. It came from Master P, coming from New Orleans to Richmond. It came from JT the Bigger Figure. JT the Bigger Figure, who gave Master P the game. It came from E40 and Too Short. You know what I'm saying? Just fucking independent majors. You know
let's not forget about Face, like Scarface.
Oh, Scarface. Oh my God, forgive me. Yeah, fucking Jay Prince. Shout out to Jay Prince.
Yes. Right.
Quick side note. Jay Prince is responsible for Drake, right?
Oh shit, no.
Yeah, bro.
I missed that.
Yeah, bro.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Okay.
Yes. Okay. That's how ill Jay Prince is in the game, for decades.
He grabbed yet another lyricist, and I think honestly, Drake was surpass Jay-Z.
Hold on. That's another episode. Hold on.
I know. We'll get there.
Shout out to Cell One, the sex icon himself. I'm about to have him on. We're scheduled tomorrow morning, and you know what I mean. I feel that we're gonna have that Drake debate we've been waiting to have. You know what I mean?
Look. I mean, he makes good points, right?
Yes.
For what Drake is doing, for the culture in this modern era, for where the game is today.
Yeah, to make it Drake makes it worldwide.
And that's what Jay-Z did for our era, so I gotta give it to him. So, I mean, he makes a good point. Now, lyricism, and if we take it all the way back to what we talked about today with the stylistics and the origins of hip-hop, where you had to be individualistic, and you had to have lyricism, and being different actually made you dope, right?
Yes,
but
individuality.
That's not the game today, right? No. The game has changed, right? The game has changed. So individuality doesn't count anymore, right? It's just how many records you sell, or it is how much money you got in the bank, or, how hot you stay. And you know what? When KRS-One came out with his book, The Elements of Hip Hop, I forgot what the
hell of a book.
Yeah. Dude, he defined it exactly. Like, lyricism was one part. Showmanship, sales. Like, he broke that shit up. And he's like, look, if you want to be GOAT, you got to come with all these different elements, right? Like, it's not just one element that makes you dope. So that's why Nas is to me, lyrically, so far superior to any other MC that has ever touched the mic. I mean, we can debate on that.
You want to hear my Nas take?
Okay.
Okay, so I like to categorize people, artists, right? So real quick, side note, as far as categories go, I have Great White Shark as one of them, and I have the the Primate is another. It's another category. So now hear me out. Nas, Andre Nickatina, Snoop Dogg, right? These are all great white sharks because they did not have to evolve. You hear their shit, it's the same as in the beginning of their careers, but only better. So they only honed. They honed their style. But it, for the most part, stayed the same. They're a great white shark. It didn't, or in this case, the great black shark, right? Because they probably wouldn't like that, right? So now, E40, guys like E40, guys like Jay-Z, we've seen them evolve time and time again and redesign and recreate and reestablish themselves. You know what I'm saying? And different style-wise, we've seen them switch their shit up. So. I mean, it's to each his own. Every artist is different, but I like to categorize Nas as a great black shark. That's to make my point.
Yeah, great black shark. GOAT. I'll give him lyricist status. Like everything. Nobody ever question.
Also, to add some validity to my statement is that the great white shark is prehistoric and they didn't have to evolve. That was my point. Like they already had it right from the beginning. You know what I mean?
So according to, the elements of hip hop, according to KRS-One in the book that he defined, that's just one domain. Like he didn't cross over into, super god status.
He didn't.
Right?
And he chose not to. Like, matter of fact, he chose to be like a professor for real. Like instead of being like, the pop icon that hip hop was on the way to becoming. You know what I mean? Hip hop was on the way to becoming pop music.
And why Jay actually got a knock against him in the 90s, because if you listen to the Blueprint series and what he was saying and how he was saying it kills. It's just like he was on such a different level at that time.
Oh, you talking about in the early 2000s? You mean the Blueprint series?
Nobody.
Oh yeah.
Nobody was gonna give him the just due, the credit, because he was talking about money, his money game. He was talking about things like
because he was really
telling stories.
Yeah.
but no one really gave him credit for it because they thought he was selling out because he wasn't talking about what everybody else was talking about. So, I mean, he was already so far advanced at that time, you know, because I almost put him on a similar category to what MC Hammer did in the early 90s.
Okay, break that down.
Everybody hated on Hammer. Everybody, including me, right? Tribe Called Quest, rap is not pop. If you call it that, then stop, right?
Ooh.
Like, that was like, oh my God, they dissed Hammer. But Hammer was platinum, double platinum. He was fucking making so much money.
Yes.
And everybody was basically just
a town boy too.
A town boy making so. How could you not live in the Bay and not know about Hammer?
Stop. Like, Hammer time.
Oh yeah, I mean it was crazy, and everybody just dissed him. Right, crazy dissed him at that time because he was different.
Because he was winning the most too. He was the first.
Was winning the most.
Him, not him second, but him initially, and then Vanilla Ice. They really took it to the pop level.
Level,
bro.
Right.
And
because he didn't have lyrics, he wasn't the dopest lyricism. Everybody shot him. But he was making so much money that Vanilla Ice said, I'm going to do what he did. Right? And I'm going to blow up. Right?
And he just did
it. He just did it for the white audience. Everybody at that time wanted a white boy that can actually rap. And Vanilla Ice gave him that. However, everybody fucking forgets about the Beastie Boys. Everybody fucking forgets about MC
Shout out to my favorite MC Jewish boys in the world, man.
Come on.
Rest in peace to what was it, Mike? One of them passed.
Just recently.
I think it was a couple of years ago. I think he had like esophagus cancer or some shit like that. Man, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Ad Rock. Shout out to Mike D. I think it was Mike D.
Come on, Mike D. Mike D had the tightest lyrics. I mean, he was swag. He was completely swag.
Yeah.
All the time.
You ain't lying.
Them fools were original. Okay? So they get their respects because, like, just like MC Search in the Gas Face, like he got his respect by being individual, and he was one of the first white boys that can actually kill it lyrically.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You talking about MC Search? Oh yeah,
MC
bro.
Search.
Shout out to MC Search.
Come on, man.
Hey, bro. He got hell of a. I'm not trying to promote other. Actually, I don't. Never mind promoting other platforms, but check out Vlad TV. Check out MC Search.
Oh, yeah.
He has hell of a stories on Vlad TV. He even has a story where he dissed MC Hammer, and MC Hammer put a legit hit on him. He put a hit out on him. But yeah, okay, go on.
Yo, so we're just talking about cats that really like preceded Jay-Z, right? And cats that were actually making that kind of pop fame at the level. So every level, every decade of hip hop actually elevated and grew. This is where Drake comes in, and Drake comes in at a point where the foundation was so laid for him. It's sort of like an NBA contract, or the contracts that are getting put out now for quarterbacks in the NFL, like Russell getting his 100,
or the NBA,
Michael,
or the
NBA,
because in this sense, the NBA is one of the ones in particular, specifically the NBA. They bring in international guys, so. You know what I mean? Because, in the NFL, it's mostly Americans, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right? The majority, I should say. In the NBA, you have a lot of Europeans, you have Canadians, you have everyone, all walks of life from different countries, because it literally, even though it's the National Basketball Association, it's definitely the worldwide. It's versus NFL. NFL, you win the Super Bowl, you're the world champions, right? But really, it's not the world, it's just American, you know what I mean? But
right. Mm-hmm.
But as far as the NBA, it's a great analogy with Drake, because Drake comes in, he's from Canada. Soon as he sold platinum, he immediately became an international superstar because he's not from America. You know what I mean? But it also makes sense that there's a mafia boss a factor, a fixture in the game with Jay Prince, who was behind it. You know what I mean?
And I think that's how it really works in reality. You can't actually. So if I tie this in to the way that Milk and Honey was created, like I basically, I'm rooted in East Side San Jose. That's my heritage. That's where I came from.
Shout out to the whole East Side.
Hey,
that's home right there.
And shout out to Stonegate. Shout out to Showgate. Shout out to Verdi. Shout out to MP. The M Posse and Milk Peters. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to
M-Town, man, for real. Like we got them up, and we had alliances with all them cats. But real talk, like if you look at how all that elevated is how we defined. That's how I define business in general, man. Like going to school was more not like because I wanted to go to school or necessarily. It was really because it was the hustle. I had to learn the game. I had to learn how to operate in the game. And because my pop came here, and this is where he rested to take care of his kids, he was already, like, he did 20 years in the military. He did 20 years in corporate America, right? He continued to elevate. He always learned. He always had a book in his hand. He always was elevating his mind. And so I look at that, right, and that's my, yes, sir. That is exactly.
I want to point some out. I want to point some out because in the Playmaker as fuck series, I will constantly. You guys are gonna see this. You know what I mean? I am Bogard, and by every sense of the word. And I hate being Bogard like that, where I just Bogard something real quick. But I part of the series is when I hear key points that I need to point out. You know what I mean? I have to point it out. And in this case, you said he had spent 20 years in corporate. I mean, in the military. Then 20 years in corporate America. And and he had landed in a place like San Jose to raise his children, and more specifically his youngest, which was you. And so you grew up in a place that's innovation by definition. It's ambitious by definition. You know what I mean? I want to point this out because to the Playmakers, because this is what made Sundown, Charlie.
Yeah, you got it.
I almost fucked it up. You see that?
Clev MC.
This is what made the Clev MC. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Okay, so now, with that said, so you're promoting at this time, right? Are you promoting at this time? So we're
yeah.
Right?
So I mean, I fast forward. I graduate high school. I jump into San Jose State, of course, right? I go to where my father went, and in San Jose State, I'm pledging a fraternity called Phi Beta Sigma. Shout out Blue Phi. Shout out Phi Beta Sigma.
Phi Beta Sigma. Is that how they said it?
Phi. Beta.
Yeah. I just guessed it too. I just guessed.
Yeah, Phi Beta Sigma, baby.
Pretty good.
This is where I put my promoter wings on because we were actually trying to make money to pay our dues, and we were also trying to put Phi Beta Sigma on the map at San Jose State, which we didn't have to, but we actually wanted to put our mark on it. So me and my frat brother Markel, created a company called Wallace Brown Entertainment.
Is that a saying is that brethren in fraternity wise? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's fraternities, right? So what your sands effectively is the people you pledge with and cross the burning sands.
It's like your class.
It's your class. That's your cohort.
Your crop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
go on.
We were looking for ways to make money to pay our dues. We was broke. We was in school. We didn't have no money. How we gonna pay his dues? So we said, let's throw a party. And how you gonna throw a party?
Easy.
Yes, sir.
Easy.
And I was like, okay. What are we gonna call it? So the business and the hustle combined, and we said, let's call this Wallace Brown Entertainment. And we said, cool. We did that.
Repeat that.
He said, well, let's call this Wallace Brown Entertainment.
Wallace Brown. So he's Wallace and you're Brown.
I'm Wallace and Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
So we started to throw the hottest parties in the 90s, the mid 90s, late 90s, and we were getting money left and right. Let me tell you, we threw a war. We had a series called, it was a dance competition because we both were dancers. We both were b-boys, and he was a dancer more than a b-boy. But he knew all of the hottest crews in Northern California, and so we put together a series, a dance competition called World War III.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Hold on. Because I have an older sister who's like almost 10 years older than me. She's like 9 and some change, right? Mm-hmm. And bro, I used to be a wee tyke, and he used to take me to these flyer parties. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Remember flyer parties? Sir. And bro, I remember the World War series.
World War series.
I remember Battle of the Jedis and Revenge of the Jedis. And bro, I remember. I was a wee tyke. My sister and them had a dance crew, and they would throw me like every dance crew, not every, but dance crews. Sometimes they would have a little kid, and then like you throw the kid in the mix, and then the crowd would go crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was one of those kids, bro. I had my little routine, and I would be a solo act because they would be doing their routine, and they would throw me in the mix. And I remember, this was during a time. This was the what they called the Hauser era, right? Mm-hmm. Remember Hausers? And Hausers were like rocking cross colors, rocking jabots. Remember jabots? Jabots, you know what I'm saying? Rocking stonewash jeans, rocking stopwatches. You know what I mean? Yes. I just wanted to. Go on.
No, but that's real. But let me tell you how all this comes together. The universe is so cool, man. Yeah. So these World War III series parties, this is where actually, if you talk to Punky, he remembers these because we all actually were combined. His brother, he would come to these series. This is like, we didn't know we all were here together during these parties, but it was my mind and my boy Markel's mind.
I might have been there, bro, as a kid.
You were there. And
for sure.
It was one of the hottest parties in San Jose. Literally, we said we were going to throw a show.
Playmakers, let me just tell y'all, flyer parties were like a motherfucker, like part of the elements. There was a dude who could write. He was the graffiti artist. He would go ahead and design your flyer. And then you would go to Kinko's or whatever the fuck it was at the time, and you print up a gang shit of them, and you just pass these flyers out, and then the party would be so yanking. They would charge at the door, and like police would come 100%. But it was all about that 4 or 5 hours you could rock before the police came. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was uncanny. Like, okay, go on. Tell me more about World War III.
Real talk. The first party we did to earn money for our dues, we made $8,000 in one night. And it was straight cash.
That's
right?
8 banditos. 8 banditos. You know what I'm saying?
I finished the night, and the competition was so thick, man. I mean, you talk about the B-boys, and we said, dude, we made, I remember walking away with 4 racks in my hand, and I was fucking like 19 years old. And I said, shit, this is crazy, right? Yeah. And I was like, wow, I went to, the warehouse and bought me like 100 CDs of my favorite,
He said warehouse. Shout out to warehouse. Oh my God. Hey, remember warehouse? Right there on Capitol and King.
Yeah,
King, Simcoe, because you did mention, your stomping grounds was the McLaughlin area. Yeah. Bro, that's where I grew up, bro. I grew up in that whole area.
Look at us. This is how I know you were at the World War III parties. I'm saying. So I made that much cake in one night, I just like it changed my whole mind. So I went on to school. I got my business degree. I started working corporate or whatever, and hustle was a thing. And we went ahead and threw hella more parties. We started to decide, hey, let's put some shows. So we would put Souls of Mischief. We put Souls of Mischief, Far Side, and we put Lords of the Underground all in one show, right? And we put them in, and we just started working. We started working with Ice Cube. We wanted to put an Ice Cube and an E40 show together. We were like hustling before these names were really names, and that was all part of the hustle. Like, because we grew up in golden era, we were defined by innovation. We were like, let's do something better and faster and different than anybody else.
Man, I love that you said different and faster and innovative, because that was one of the emphasis that I wanted to, when I do these podcasts. Obviously, I know you, and we work together. You know what I'm saying? We're proud to have you as the sponsor. You're proud to be the sponsor. Once again, shout out to our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX. Go fuck with them for all your CBD wellness, all your CBD goodness at www.milkandhoneytx.com. But I say this because when I introduced you earlier in the pod, I used, he's an innovator. Because that was one of the key words that struck me when I was thinking about how to describe you. Because yes, entrepreneur and all that shit, but hearing you tell me this story until where we're at right now on the timeline, when the entrepreneurship and the innovative, the innovatorship, if that's a word, we're making it up, fucking Jamaicans, the innovatorship, you know what I mean, bro? That's embedded in you, bro, and like that's just something. That's why I made a point to point that out in the intro when I was introing you. You know what I'm saying, my man, Sundown Charlie. You know what I'm saying? Can I call you Chuck?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look, you're the first one. The first Charlie I've ever met. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Sundown Chuck, SDC. Okay, so we're in the 90s. It's all kind of innovation going on as far as the craft. Now, when so now you're promoting and you're fucking with the music shit and you're doing the shows, you're doing the breakdance parties. What got you to the point? Like, can you remember the personnel or the individual in particular that was like that got you into the studio? Like, when were you rapping already? Like, when, because everyone would freestyle. Anyone who's everyone would freestyle, get in ciphers. When can you pinpoint the moment or the individual that was like, bro, I got the studio?
So my sister got married to my brother-in-law, and his name was Bernard. He was from V-Town. He was
Shout out to Bernard.
Yes,
Shout out to Vallejo.
And Bernard was cousins with who we now know as Selly Cell.
Shout out to Selly Cell. Oh, it's one of my favorites.
And so
that's right.
The Hillside crew, and Bernard's uncle, and they call him Uncle Matt. Uncle Matt had a studio.
I know who you're talking about. Oh my god. Okay, go on.
Okay, I knew he was gonna do this.
This is good.
I knew he was gonna do this. So Mac basically was a reggae cat. He loved steel drum. He plays even to this day. That's his passion. But he had a studio he opened, and for all the Hillside boys. And I was at the point where I wanted to start rapping because I just had been around everything so tough that I'm like, I love to rap. And no one knew I loved to rap, but I would just freestyle, like you said. So it was when, the promoting game, I think when I actually did we did a tour, a mini tour called Lottie Dottie. And it was Jeff Flanagan.
We like to party.
Yeah, we called it Lottie Dottie. And we were fucking with Jeff Flanagan. Jeff Flanagan was my frat brother, but he is
Shout out to Glenn. That's your Sam. What you call your Sam's?
My frat.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And
Oh,
Clanigan,
okay, because your Sands are the ones you crossed over with.
you crossover, yes. But my frat, he was big in the
Real
game.
quick.
He knew.
Continue the story. I'm gonna go run the 10 seconds to this bathroom, take a piss. I can still hear you though.
Right.
Keep going. Keep going.
Right. So check it out. Clanigan actually was real tight with Davey D. Davey D was a hip hop historian at that time. Davey D was part of KMEL, and we worked real tough with the radio. We worked real tough with Davey D. We worked real tough with Clanigan to put this huge concert together called Lottie Dottie. And when I got up there to actually announce, the first show was Too Short was the headliner. We had Lighter Shade of Brown, we had Domino, we had Lisette Melendez, and we put that show together. And a bunch of Bay Area artists that we had put together, we put that show together, and it was just monster. It was really monster. So we went ahead and did that, and I opened the show up, and I grabbed the mic in front of all them people, and it was just like an adrenaline rush that I had never felt before, and I think that ushered into, the whole idea of rapping, and I started rapping after that point. My brother-in-law had a studio, and then I went ahead up to the studio with the Hillside Boys in Vallejo.
So this is in Vallejo. So your first, are you painting the picture of your first studio appearance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I had some underground studio experience.
Yeah, but
this is my first big time.
This in your recollection, this is the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Being up in the studio, having the Hillside Boys come through, having Selly Cell come through with a 40.
Selly Cell was the joint. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That one that boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
It's going down tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight it goes down. The joint.
So the girl who sung on It's Going Down actually sung on my first album. It was a Christian album.
Hey, she was so dope. I don't even know her name.
Yeah, I forgot her name too, actually.
Ironically though, she's unforgettable though, right? Even though we don't know her name, she's unforgettable.
So I've been, fast forward to Head Nod days, and this is where Punky and I met through Cape Knox and Hector, and this is where me and Eb got together with Audible Soul. And
yes, let's elaborate on that. So because you are one half of Audible Soul, I know there was a third member at one point, but as far as it stands,
DJ Mike Shep.
Yep, shout him out. As far as it stands now, Audible Soul is a duo, right? So what came first, you meeting Prime or you meeting Ep?
Me meeting Ep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Walk me through that, because I personally and the Playmakers would appreciate this, because also check out Ep's episode. You know what I mean? Pun intended. Check out EP's EP, right? It's funny because when I was doing the title for the episode, I had Playmaker AF, and then like it was like EP, 3. Featuring EP, right? And I was like, oh, wait a second, he goes by Mr. Epic. But it was funny to me when I was writing the notes, you know what I mean? Like, because I was confused. Like, I'm putting EP, 3 featuring EP, and either way, that's another day and another story for another time. But yeah, so tell me how you met EP, like, because I know by this time EP was coming from like the Midwest. He was from all over the place, and he lands in San Jose. Tell me about meeting the Ep.
Okay, so at this time, after I doing those shows and all that, I decided that I want to be an MC for real, and I'm going throughout the underground, doing a lot of shows. I actually have a group called the Shadow Dwellers.
Shadow Dwellers.
Shadow Dwellers, yes sir. Noah D. Achille.
That's kind of a precursor to your Sundance Charlie, or Sundance. I did it again. Your Sundown. Your Sundown Charlie alias, you know what I mean? Like
correct, right.
Yeah, because you know what I'm saying, you got it has the whole nighttime darkness correlation, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The underground was popping. This is around when the '90s was really popping. So MCing and freestyling, battling, and so I was going around, doing a lot of shows in the underground and just performing left and right. But I also was very conscious. I got spiritual, and my relationship with God had really defined my lyricism, and so I was very conscious.
I love
And so,
I love that you said spiritual because I, for one, and the playmakers know this because I've touched on this on several times on all our podcast series. I feel like your relationship with God is personal, and everyone has that same relationship. And I feel like when if you were to ask me, I wouldn't say I'm religious because I feel like over time in my day and age, I realized religion is kind of the rules to worship. It's the rules they set to talk to God, so to speak, right? And I feel like spirituality, it has no boundaries. It's just your personal connection to God. You know what I mean? So I don't knock anyone who's a Christian or Catholic or anything. You know what I mean? Just if you believe in something, I believe what you believe in is real because it is real. You know what I mean? But
for sure.
spirituality is your own limitless. It's your own limitless, boundless connection to something greater. So yes, I just wanted to point that out because I love that you said you're a spiritual person. You know what I'm saying? Jamaicans.
for sure. Yes, sir. So my first CD was a Christian-based CD called "The Maze of Life," and there's a lot of I haven't remade it, but my nephew actually was like, "You gotta remake this because it provided him such an upliftment through one of the toughest times of his life."
Maze of Life. That makes me want to roll some weed up again. Okay, go on.
So yeah, hey, B, for this, honestly, I'm gonna put one in your hands because I still have hella CDs from that CD.
Oh, I might need that. I might need to hang that on the wall, even. You know what I mean? That's one of those ones.
Well, so I've been working with P, and so to remake that and relaunch it, like remake it in a sense, like with a lot of the updated sounds and some of the sounds. And so we it's a project that I want to put out, but in light of everything that Head Nod has going on right now, it's like it's on the back burner, right?
Yeah.
So, but I met Ep along the lines of doing a lot of shows, and we actually would get our hair cut in the same hair, hair shop barber. That we get our
shout out to
barber.
Brian.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
well, actually,
yeah.
Brian was, so my boy Yin that I mentioned earlier in the B-Boy Posse started cutting hair. He was in the same shop as Brian, so Ep and I would see each other, and he was like,
Brian is Ep's guy.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I shout out to all these names and figures that we're highlighting because these guys are all factors of connecting game. The spider web of the universe that brings us together. Shout out to Brian and shout out to Yee. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Go on.
So we connected, and Ep actually was a battle MC. He had some of the sickest battles, freestyles that he would just kill cats just straight up off the top, and it would be like glam, right? And so he wanted to actually start performing. It was me and Mike Shep, and we were doing the Maze of Life. We were performing in all kinds of churches and in clubs and everything. We were actually doing it. And so Shep was like, yo, we gotta roll with Ep. And so it
nice.
was
shout out to
Ep and
Chef. What would you say? What was his name?
Yeah, DJ Chef.
Yeah, shout out to Chef, man. Oh, that's right. He was one of the original Audible Soul members.
Yeah, he was.
Yes. Okay, yes. Because I just remember that name from the Ep interview. You know what I mean? Shout out to Mr. Epic. Okay, go on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we connected, and Ep was like, hey, whatever. I just want to ride. I love the music. And so at that time, we just did. He was like, I'll do whatever. Let's ride together. And we hadn't thought about being a group, but he would just come on and bust styles and freestyles, because every part of a show at that particular time was you had to have like a dope hype man and a DJ, and then you actually would stop.
Yeah, and you would rock acapella.
And you acapella and
yes!
freestyle.
Legendary.
Right? And so it was like, motherfucking, I had to have Ep, because he could actually style. Like, he just actually would do off the top. And so we would just go back and forth freestyling during, like, over break beats at a show. And it would be lit. We would do it. Like, that's how we did it. And Shep was like, dude, man, we gotta let Ep have more time. We gotta let him shine. And so we just brought
shout
him
out
in.
To Ep, bro. Shout out to Ep, because like it takes it. It doesn't surprise me. Obviously, I know he's a Sagittarius like us, but come on now, bro. Like, it takes our kind, specifically to be like, yeah, man. Everyone's great. I just like being a part of it. Like we are able to put the ego to the side for the greater cause. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel that in my heart, because that's my life. That's my experience with you. That's my experience with Ep. And you know what I mean? Like, bro, shout out to all you Sagittarius playmakers out there. You guys know what we're talking about. Real
talk though. B, it's not about just putting the ego aside, but you don't do that for everybody. It's based on respect.
Yeah.
It's based on respect.
Good point.
Right? You don't do that for anybody. And if I would have just tried to hold Ed down, if I didn't see, it was me. I recognized his greatness in the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't gel as a group until much, much later. Like, we tripped over each other on stage sometimes, and to get Ep to come out of his shell early on was like, I got some videos for you we could laugh at. But it was like, yo, he don't ever want me to show them tapes.
Check this out, bro. He told me, right? Like, check this out. He even told me that you guys pushed him to do this thing, right? Like, in the feature interview we did with him. He told me, he was like, they're the ones that kind of pushed me. I was into house music, and I was into the art of hip hop, but I like to be a part of it. And then he even said, right? He even said, what I'm saying, like he never wanted to step on any toes or anything like that. And then you're telling me now too, you're like, yo, it was Chef, and he said this too in the interview, like, you guys were the ones that were like, yo, you need to come on board. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Chef was like, come on. And I'm like, yo, I know. Okay. Like, I already know. So
damn, bro, I hear you.
So Ep and I went every show, even leading up to the one we just did. Like, we worked so fucking hard at our showmanship, at our craft, at timing together.
I gotta cut you off again. In the episode I did with Ep, I told him, man to man, artist to artist, I said, bruh, I'm so glad on our last show that me and Irv, shout out to Irv the Block, I'm so glad that we went on before you guys. Because you guys got on stage and you were like the hood East Side version or the hood San Jose version of Kid and Play. Like, you motherfuckers, like, and I love Kid and Play. This is not a knock at all. Like, they rock a show. You know what I mean? Like, with the choreography and, like, just all the way down to what words your counterpart is supposed to hype. What, you know what I mean? What parts they're supposed to ad lib, what parts they're supposed to fill in. Like, you guys are symbiotic as fuck, and you know what I mean. And it only justifies the reason why I got you and Ep on this show, Playmaker as fuck, because you guys are as such. Okay, so go on. So you guys bring in Ep, right? And Ep, so now Ep's a part of it. Was it immediately like? So who was responsible for the Audible Soul title? I know what Audible Soul entails. I know what it represents. I know the the ism behind it. But as far as the title, Audible Soul, because personally, I love the name Audible Soul because I love double entendres like we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Deeper meaning. Yeah.
Yes, there's several meanings that you could take from it, especially for someone like me from the outside looking in. I was like, I love Audible Soul as a name, especially when I got to know you guys. I was like, wow, it makes total fucking sense. You know what I mean? But so how did Audible Soul, the group name, come about?
I think a lot of it was based on the vision that I believe God had given me in my spirit, my heart. Although the name had to be a collective of some kind, right? I think I might have captured what we were all thinking or talking about one night, but I'm like, man, look, our soul is heard out loud in our music. It's audible. And that's how we got the name. It's Audible Soul.
And because, like to break down the double entendre shit, like Audible Soul, as in mean like the music of the soul, as in like the sound of your soul, like when you hear the reverberations and or vibrations, whatever. I try to say vibration like real smart.
Yeah, the frequency,
the vibrations, the frequency. Yeah. There you go. Thank you, Sundown. Thank you,
yes,
SDC. Yes, it's the motherfucking frequency. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a strong believer of frequencies. Like like for example, I might call you one time, right? And you'll be like, bro, I was just thinking about you. Right? It's because we're on the same frequency. So when you connect with brethren, you know what I'm saying? And playmakers, take note of this. Check this out, Charlie. A part of this podcast series is to invoke inspiration. It's to invoke what's the word? Inspire. Oh, I said that, right? It's to inspire people. You know what I mean? And I want people to be inspired by this series of playmakers that had to do what they had to do to start making a name or making noise. And in this sense, when you talk about Audible Soul, like, you know what I mean? Like, because we came from an era when you guys were Audible Soul, like in the beginning. That was during an era where like the namesake was part of the draw. You know what I mean? Like, nowadays we can just click on someone on how they look. If they look interesting enough or the name is interesting, like we might click and listen. But like back then, if they seen a flyer or they seen an album cover where they would read it and look at the characters on it, the artists on it, or read the song titles, like they try to take their best from it to purchase the joint or listen to it if they weren't aware of it. You know what I mean? And like Audible Soul, like if I was a motherfucker from the outside looking in, or like I was a DJ back in the days and I was digging through records and I seen Audible Soul, I would immediately gravitate towards it because, mind you, I'm a Sagittarius like yourself, so I'm always looking for hidden meaning, right? And like the namesake is something. Namesake should always derive from a source. And like what you painted for me so far along the timeline is the source, and now we're at the point in the timeline where Audible Soul is created, and like you said, God might have bestowed the title upon y'all, right? And because of the journey that y'all are, and mind you, I did the interview with Ep, so I know his journey as well, where he came from all over. He was bouncing around all over the place till he landed in my hometown, San Jose, and in the place that I know it's not your birthplace, but it is your hometown. It's the place that you claim the fame that created you. You know what I'm saying? An innovative place, right? So it's okay. So now we're at Audible Soul, right?
Yes, sir.
So
yes,
tell me how DJ Ready Rock came into picture. Was it through? Actually, before I get to that, So Prime was in the mix. How did
Yeah,
Prime?
so-
Tell me about how you got in with Prime. Shout out to Prime
So-
One. I forgot.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
skipping
Shout
around
out
the
to Prime
timeline.
One.
I want to emphasize certain points of the timeline.
Yep. So I mentioned that, before Audible Soul, Clever MC was out performing in the underground. Clever MC hooked up with this cat named Hector. Hector heard we did a show. We killed one of the shows, and the Finger Bangers was
Shout out to
a
the
DJ
Finger Bangers.
crew. Shout out to motherfucking Finger Bangers, man. Them motherfuckers was so dope.
Shout out to Rocky.
That-
That's who I knew.
Right, Rocky Rock. So
Yep,
before
that's
Rocky
who I
Rock
knew.
got on with,
He don't
so
remember
before
me
Rock-
100%. But yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
So Prime One's brother was part of Finger Bangers.
No way! Shortcuts
Yeah.
or ill tracks? I mean,
Ill Tracks.
wow. Was
Ill
he a later?
Tracks.
Was he a later member?
Not that I remember.
Because I
just
was
remember-
aware of. I became aware of Finger Bangers when I was like, maybe my teen years.
Maybe I'm a little off, but they were always around, right? And that's how I met Ill Tracks through Hector. And Hector said at the show with the Finger Bangers, who opened for me at a show, and they killed the intro, and then I did the show, but F was with me. So we kicked us to go. I still have that video. Like I gotta go back over all these.
because come on now, Finger Bangers were a hell of an act to follow. You know what I mean? Bro.
They killed it every time we went.
And they were like, all right, you're up.
Right. But we came up and we knew that we had to absolutely blow the crowd away. Because this is 90s hip hop. This is like that element, right?
Yeah.
So we had to actually do the damn thing. And our energy had to be hella high. And so at that particular time, F and I were just fucking doing a hell of a lot of shows. But that was it was tough to actually come out and be like, yo, the
Right?
Big Man's just
No, you ain't lying. And you kind of foreshadowed it. You foreshadowed it by like saying like, yo, I got this footage, bro. If you want to see it.
We actually killed that show. It was one of the best shows we had done to date. And the energy was live. And Hector, after hearing that show, wanted to sign us to his new record label. So we met Rich.
Hold on. Is Hector's last name Figueroa?
Oh, no.
Okay, never mind. Because I was about to say, oh my God, I know this guy. No, okay, go on.
Yeah, I forgot Hector's last name.
Scratch what I said.
But he started Cave Knox, and he was more connected than us, and he wanted to take us to a bigger level, and we get us out of the underground. So we started making what some cats would consider more pop music or whatever, but we was trying
considering the crowd that you guys are rocking with, because this is
correct.
This is quote unquote the backpacker scene, right?
Yeah,
like the
very
underground
much the
hip hop.
backpack.
Yeah, I say quote unquote because I can't stand that terminology. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But also, like, I want you to paint the venues. Was this around the Capecitos, Cactus Lounge or Cactus?
Yes.
Right? It's during that time.
Cafe Capacito.
Yeah. You didn't think I knew about that, huh?
Oh shit!
You didn't think I knew about that? I was a young boy, dog. I was a young boy.
We did that. We did Cafe Capacito. We did. We were doing shows up in San Francisco in the Fillmore. Like we were really, really doing it. It was crazy, and we were just in search of some kind of deal. So here comes Cave Knox. We do it anyway. That whole crew is what brought Prime around, and we met Prime in the effort of trying to record our first single. We took a road trip down to LA in Prime studio.
Ooh,
he had just finished doing stuff down with he had finished mixing or working with Eminem's new album, and we were just
with Ren Dog. With Ren. Shout out to Ren.
Exactly.
Yeah,
shout out to Ren Doggy. So we go down there, and this studio is so lit. It's so live. It's so much liver and better than anything we ever have been in. We rocked this song that was on our first album called More Hustle is Capital. No, it's Hustle is Capital was our first album together. And it was called The Element. And it was just this raw, underground, like serious hip hop. It was one of our best hip hop sounds ever, man. We recorded that down, and we just went in. It was like that energy in that studio with Punky and Ren Doggy, like they just like were pulling everything out of us. We just went in, and it was one of the best songs we ever recorded. So
that made you solidify, like, yo, I need to fuck with Prime One.
Oh yeah, we knew that Prime had so much beats at that time,
and Playmakers. Prime One is the brother of Ill Tracks, who was in the Finger Bangers DJ crew that he was talking about. I just want to make sure I point out, you know, the separation. Yeah, the degrees of separation. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Shout out to Prime One, because Prime One is
shout out to Prime
One's the guy who I am proud to be under the umbrella of. You know what I mean? As we speak.
So that's what happened, right? And we recorded down there, and you know, we would make I think one more trip down there, and then Cape Knox was associated with this guy Rich Cabell, who started Buco, which is a Filipino vodka company.
Okay. But is it Buco? Right? Buco, give me money.
Instead of Buco, it's Buco.
Yeah, instead of Buco, because you know Buco means bump on your head. When you have a Buco, look, for all you Playmakers out there, Filipino terminology, if you bump your head, you got a Buco. You know what I'm saying? You get a bump on your head, they call it a Buco. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you know, I was young Buco scot-free. You know what I'm saying? For those you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I stayed with a bump on my head. You feel me? When I see my little man to this day, right? I mean, you know, he's 1 year old, but to date, he stays bumping his head, and my girl be like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Bro, that's my son." You know what I mean? That's young Buco scot-free. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, pray tell, bust it.
Yeah, so we connect with Punky at that point, Prime One, and we stay connected forevermore. The label goes down. They didn't, you know, we didn't release Hustle is Capital, so we wasted a lot of time and money. We were pissed, and basically, I took all of the Sims and all of the files, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and finance this thing and put it out for just Audible Soul," and that's what we did.
You hear that, Playmakers? At one point or another, when things were falling through the cracks, he had to pick up all the pieces. He had to pick them all up and call the plays. He was like, "Look, I'm about to run with the rock." He took his chance and invested in himself. You know what I'm saying? Which is, I just want to point out. All right? Okay. So now we go through the time period of just Audible Soul. And I know also during this time period, Prime One, shout out to Prime, he kind of took a hiatus, right? Is this during that time? Yes, because let me tell you something. Shout out to Irv the Block. I've known Irv for almost a decade now, and Irv, when we had the same manager at the time, and you know what I'm saying? I allegedly was in the business. Hold on, what you microwaving? What is that?
This is a little turkey sandwich.
Okay, turkey sandwich, give me money. You know what I'm saying? All right, but check this out, right? So Irv would always be in the studio, and I'd be, he would either be finishing up, or I would be, and then I would be coming through for my session, and then shout out to Mike, Mike the manager, shout out to Mike Fuentes. He was like, "Bruh, y'all need to work together." And bro, like, we started killing it, and he was from a crew, I was from a crew, and bro, we just, from there, we were rocking ever since. But it was crazy because he shows some of the tracks I did with him to Prime, right? Or Punky as I came to know him initially, right? 'Cause mind you, I never met him physically for a decade. But after I did music with his beats, because Irv was like, I got these beats, my nigga Punky, woo woo woo, bam. All of a sudden, I'm rocking joy. Matter of fact, Punky Prime One, shout out to Prime, shout out to Punky, same person. This motherfucker has a production on my first mixtape as a solo artist, and my first mixtape, it was called a mixtape because it was mixed together, right? It was like 90% original joints. I had a few mixtapes, but for the most part, it was original as fuck. And Prime One had production on it. And like, bro, when Irv finally got me in the studio with him, with Prime, you know what I'm saying? It was just one of those things like where now it's Irv talking about y'all supposed to been work together. You know what I mean? Right? Okay, so now you and Audible Soul are doing your thing. So how long was it? How long was Ready Rock? Okay, we didn't really get to the Ready Rock. Tell me how Ready Rock came in the picture, because Ready Rock is a fucking staple in the industry. He's an unsung hero. Shout out to DJ Ready Rock.
Yes, sir.
DJ Harmonix, as you would know as his producer tag. You know what I'm saying? He's a fixture in the game. For those of you guys don't know, you know what I mean? But how did Ready Rock? What was it? Because I know he's also a staple in Temple, and Temple is a San Jose landmark.
Legendary.
It's a San Jose landmark as far as the nightlife. It's a bar where they play great music. You know what I mean? They have different nights, but it was always the same crowd of people running it. You know what I mean? And like it was one of the most. Come on now, how many stories of drama can you think of coming out of Temple? Almost none. Because Temple was one of the most just neutral places and everyone can just go and party. But like DJ Ready Rock he's a pillar as far as it goes with Temple and as a producer in the industry. But tell me how you came about with
Ready Rock.
Yeah, with Ready Rock. I don't know him by his governor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we call him L's. We call him L's. I call him L's.
And ironically, he stays stacking W's though, right?
He does.
Hey, wax poetic. I'm gonna do one of those breaks again. Go wax poetic. Tell the Playmakers about Ready Rock and how he came into the picture, because Ready Rock is also one of the producers that is a part of the relevant story right now. As far as your music, he's one of the producers that's in the building. He actually produced a couple of joints on me and Irv's latest project. He's phenomenal. Tell me about how he came into the picture.
So Els came into the picture. Ready Rock came into the picture at the Clever MC Audible Soul transition. You know, Clever MC transition to Audible Soul, because we went into a different direction. So DJ Shep, he was more spiritual than us and had much more conviction. I wouldn't say much more spiritual, but he had more conviction around a certain way in terms of us continuing to be a gospel hip hop group, where we actually wanted to grow, and we wanted to grow into a more of a well-balanced conscious group, and actually express a lot more of the personas that we had, right? Which is what you're hearing now from the music from, Drip, that Mr. Epic produced, and Wet, and, what you'll hear with Body, and what you'll hear with Church. And so we have a very conscious view, but we have very, very, a lot of different dimensions. And we wanted to explore that and actually express that. So we actually had to go in different directions. Shep stopped being our DJ, and Ready Rock came on because he was producing all of our music anyway.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Okay, okay. Go on, continue.
So he just, he would produce our shit, and then we would have shows and not have a DJ anymore. So we were like, Els, can you DJ our show? Because we need you. Like, so.
All right, I got y'all.
Once he did, we started rocking, and then there was this one show that we did with Medusa up in San Francisco, and Medusa,
Shout out to Medusa.
thank God. Shout out to Medusa. Shout out to Medusa. Thank God we didn't have to go after her. But basically,
yeah, I'm aware of her. I remember her back in the days.
Dude,
she had a hell of a live show.
She did.
Yeah.
She was nasty with
yeah.
it, right?
Fuck yeah, Jamaican horns even for Medusa. You know what I mean?
So anyway, we get up there and we start creating. We created a song called "Run It" on our More Hustle, More Capital LP, and that was our second record, our second LP. And on that LP, we were so tight, and we were so much like we were creating so much music at the time that Lawrence or Ready Rock basically spit a verse on that record for us.
Real quick, dumb question: Does he allow you to call him Larry or Lair?
No. Well, I mean, I can because it's like my family calling me Bobby. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
no one knows my nickname.
Like you don't prefer it, but it's okay if it's said individual. Yeah, because rest in peace to my Tito Larry, and shout out to also rest in peace to my first cousin Lawrence. But Lawrence was the junior. He hated if we called him Larry. He's like, no, I'm Lawrence. Yeah, okay, go on. Same way I was like, are you okay with me calling you Chuck? Every Charlie I've ever fucked with, even my cousin Charlie, he don't like that. He's like, don't call me Chuck, motherfucker. All right, so go on. So he's producing. Yeah, so now he's producing.
He's producing, but he jumped on a track and actually, spit bars with us.
What?
And we loved it.
Yeah. Hold on, is this available? Does this exist?
Yeah, so check out More Hustle, More Capital, that link I sent you for Apple iTunes and Audible.
Oh, okay, so this is
More
recent.
Capital.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is a more recent one.
Our latest our last full album together.
I need you to send me the link, if you can, right now while we're talking. Send me the link to Church. Because Church is so uplifting and is so dope and is so barred up, and it's great production. It's also Ready Rock. It's fitting. I want to be able to sample that one for the people because because I know earlier I know you had some other joints, and I feel you. We are Sagittarius. When you were like, well, I don't know, and I was like, oh yeah, I feel you. Yeah, because you have these certain joints coming out. You don't really want to necessarily splash them. Not to say that I'm mad that you're not giving me exclusives. I also understand, you know what I mean? Because shit's coming out. This is also, by definition, an exclusive that you're giving me this time right now to sit on the pod with me. You know what I mean? But I guess send me Church. Oh, there it goes right there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Go on, and then because I want to sample this Church because now we're getting a little more towards the present day. What are we like a little bit under a decade away?
Yeah, that's 2010 to now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay, so we're around a decade. Yeah. Okay, bust it.
So we're doing that. Running comes out. How we made Running, it was just like how we made this last song that we're gonna come out with called Body.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Mr. Epic once again. Shout out to Cell One. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to HMNG. You know what I mean? It's fucking hell of a production. This one's Prime One, right? And this one in particular?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was the way that we would always make music. And so Ready Rock jumps on and he shocks us. He's like, he comes on, he gets bars, and we're like, oh shit, right? And during this show with Medusa, we're so amped up that we're spitting, and he comes from behind the DJ, grabs the mic, and starts spitting his bars and performing with us right on stage. And it was just like a transformational moment where producer becomes rapper, like producer DJ becomes rapper, and he's doing it with us. It's straight fam. And so it was bananas. We just were lit that night. It was ridiculous how it all came out. And that sort of solidified us.
Hey, send me the video on YouTube, because I don't. Ironically, I have Apple Music. I have iPhone, but I don't have a goddamn Apple account. I have everything else, Spotify, all the shit. Mind you, I am notoriously cheap. If I don't have to pay for it, I won't. You're right. If I can get it for free, yes, right. So that's where we're at. You know what I mean? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, but okay, but no, I didn't mean to cut that off. So now, Ready Rock, he's all of a sudden shocking y'all live. He's busting. And granted, this is a recorded song originally, but now you guys are live.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he's like, y'all think y'all Kid and Play of the 2000s? Let me get in here. Right? He was so he's the Asian Martin Lawrence of the group if you guys are Kid and Play.
Yeah. I would
Right?
have to call him.
Right? Remember in House Party 1, Martin Lawrence was the DJ. Remember? Shireen. Remember he was like, Shireen. Shireen. Remember?
Ooh, dragon breath.
Oh my God, Playmakers, while you guys are in your confinement, go ahead and look up House Party. Hell of a fucking movie. I love part 1 and I love part 3. But I also have an appreciation for part 2. But part 1 and 3 are my joints. All right, go on. So Ready Rock.
So we actually became, we actually performed a lot together. He DJ'd a lot for us. He gave us a lot of time. And we just had general love and respect for each other. So that's how we, came about and really connected with Ready Rock. And he produced, of course, almost exclusively the whole albums for us.
Yeah.
And we actually, during the hiatus period, I got busy with corporate.
Specifically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, for whatever reason, we all, fell off, right? And we got busy with life. I went back to school.
I mean, it happens,
I started working, yeah. Ephead was married. And
pause real quick. I like to point this. I want to emphasize this. You said we had to do other things. You were prioritizing things that mattered in life, right? Not to say that we don't love our music, but when things like this can occur in life, where you come to a point where you have to make the conscious decision: am I going to continue to chase this dream? Because everything is time. Playmakers, time is man's most valued commodity. If you guys don't know that, you know what I'm saying? You're tuning into the wrong show. All my playmakers know this. This is understood. Time is man's greatest commodity, right? And at the time, like you said, right? At the time, like you said, you were dealing with, you're like, all right, there's other things I gotta prioritize. Because all my favorite rappers, bro, they're all pieces of shit as far as fathers, because they had to go out and get it and become famous, and then like football players, when they get at the end of their career, they go, I'm retiring, I want to be a father. Yeah, it's the same thing with rappers when they're young. Sometimes, because it's hard to do both or everything at once. It's you get out. I'm a strong advocate of saying that you get out what you put in. Right. And you know what I mean? And I guarantee your children were a test for this. My children were a test for this, that we prioritize our children, and like you said, you get out what you put in. And in this case, our children are great because that's where our time was invested. You know what I mean? Not to say that our craft wasn't great, but just us as individuals, human beings in the regular world. Because come on, I know you're successful on many degrees, but I know also that chasing the dream, of notoriety as an MC, as an artist, is still in you. That's why we're still doing this. And speaking on myself as well, right? And the drive, the motivation, the ambition, all these things have been instilled in you, and I could vouch just by using my own podcast episode, this one in particular, as an example. Everything you've laid out so far is leading us to this part of the timeline, and you know what I mean, and you having to prioritize things, because you are also successful in your career outside of music, and then you are also an entrepreneur, which we will get to. about milk and honey, right? So now let's pick it up from. So bring me to the time now that Prime 1 is entering back in the picture, because then I'll be able to involve myself in the timeline, because I could remember when I met you. When I first met you, I met you in a thread, obviously, but when I met you physically, you know what I'm saying, we were in the studio having a power meeting, and that was and Ready Rock was there too. You know what I mean? I remember I met you guys at the same time, but I knew you guys were together as like as a faction. You know, you guys in particular. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But so now bring me to when Prime starts to dust off. You know, the what should we call it? Dust off
the dust.
Yeah, the skill.
Rust.
He was like this. Yeah, I'm back. He was like, I'm coming back. Bring me back to that, because I can tell you I can tell you my portion of that too.
He moved back to Northern California from LA.
Yep.
And when he moved back from LA, he still had
Can
it
you
in
recall
him.
the year?
It had to be. I was just finished with school. Like, I had to say 2015.
Okay, yeah,
16?
I was about to say it
Gotta
wasn't that
be.
long ago. Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, word.
And so when he moved back, he still set up the studio, but he was setting it up with a remnant of a cat that we wanted to off really like bad, because he actually moved to LA and just sort of left us stranded.
He was in the way. He was in the way.
He was. Oh man.
He was a speed
And so,
bump.
yeah, but they did the studio together that we call Head Nod today.
Oh, word.
And so,
okay, here we go. I like this.
He was
Some
still-
origins. Okay.
He was still a part of that, and Punky was still dealing with him business transaction wise. Punky and I connected and be like, you know, you still fucking with Heck? And he was like, oh, we're kind of business partner. I was like, ooh, fuck that. I'm not fucking with it. You know? Like,
Yeah,
that cat.
because without getting specific, somewhere along the way, Hector's I guess you could say his priority wasn't in the music, so he was expendable or not expendable. He was okay to be without.
He was a distraction.
Boom. Okay. Shout out
All
to
right.
Hector though.
Right. Because without Hector, we don't have
Exactly.
where we are now.
exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so, essentially, after Hector and Ren and all them part ways, is where Punky reaches out, you know, to me and be like, Clev, Hector's gone. I want to start doing music again. You know, he started just reaching out to all the MCs he knew, including yourself.
Well, in this case, Irv
Irv.
hit me. So this now I'll take you back to like, this is like the early 2018. That's when I finally got to physically meet Prime One himself. You know what I mean? And like, bro, because Irv was always like, my studio is back, it's running, bro. I need to get you in here, and it had already been, like you said, since 2015. So this thing was already running for a few years, and they were reaching out now. So that's how I got in the mix. Okay, go on. I just wanted to point that out.
Well, so you think about all that, and if you think about that time expanse, that P was still working with all the individual artists one-off.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Right? Here, there, and so P was like, man, this is crazy. After Heck gets done, he's like got an official studio, and he's like, it's better if we all work together. And
Right.
that's leverage resources and work together. And he knew all these dope MCs, and they're good people. And it's not like, we have superstar status and potential, but we hadn't reached that point, and we're a little bit older. So it was like it was
like reestablishing, like it was reconvening. You know what I mean? It was.
Yeah.
It was like, like meet me at the what do they call it? The there's a spot reconvene. Did I say that word already? Yeah, but anyways, yes, it it was picking up essentially where you guys left off at one
Right.
point. Yes, like, all right, this is where
Let's
we're
go.
at. Let's address how things are going on.
Right. And so that leads up to when he made the email, the famous email thread,
Yep.
inviting everybody to come out.
Yes.
And we were talking about it several, months ahead of time, and they dropped it. And then there was only a certain amount of folks that responded to the call. And there was the cats that we now call Head Nod. And
Yes, and I, Bogard scot-free. This is where I enter the picture because I am your local madman. I am your your local shaman, which for lack of a better term, because I love bringing together. You know what I'm saying? I love being a part of old remedies. So hear me out when I say this. Old remedies, because there's certain things that don't die, and music that never dies, and music is a remedy for life. It's a, and you could attest to this because you are a creator. Those of us that have a creative soul, there's a need to feed that creative soul. And when there is someone who is consciously aware of the fact that they're surrounded by all these said individuals, for someone like Prime, who I'm speaking of specifically, shout out to Prime One.
Shout out.
He went and took the initiative to gather all these said solo artists, individual factions that he was working with, one-offs, as you called it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He brought us all together. And so now I want to tell a little story. So I got the email, and I'm like, yeah, I'm there, right? And I remember it was supposed to be a Monday night, and then it kept going. Oh, the next Monday, because it was hard to coordinate, like however many, like 20, 17 something individuals he put in that particular thread initially, right? And then before it became the Head Nod joint as we know it, right? So anyways, he goes and he has a meeting, and finally the meeting's it's happening, and I show up. I remember I take an Uber. I'm doing my Bogard thing. I came from another session, so I'm really drunk. You know what I mean? And I show up, and I remember I got like some purple ass boat shoes, right? I remember I had a white V-neck. You know what I'm saying? I had my white gold. I had my white gold rosary. I had my dad hat, and I remember I had these purple like lavender boat shoes, right? And I remember walking up, and then Prime goes, because Prime, he really pays it. He's a sneakerhead. You know what I mean? And I used to be one as well until I had handfuls of children. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Right, where I started prioritizing like shoes I would buy that I would never even wear. You know what I mean? Because I would just be like, I just had to have them, right? But anyways, so I got now I'm in deep off in my Vans shoe era, which I still am in because I love shout out to Vans. Vans give me money, right? But I'm walking up to the studio, and he's obviously you have to have someone key you in essentially, right, to the studio. Mm-hmm. So he's holding the door open for me. I'm walking up, and he's like, "Purple boat shoes, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but his tonality and the way he said it was like, "Come on, man, purple boat shoes, right?" But it was just like, in hindsight, that's so Bogard, you know what I mean? I know he knows that now, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Bogard's the type to come through in some fucking lavender boat shoes, you know what I mean? I'd call them purple, but, they were clearly lavender. Either way, so we're in the building, we're having this meeting. You got, I brought a bottle of Hennessy, you know what I mean? And Hennessy, I'm a Patron drinker, personally, but I love drinking Hennessy, when I'm in the studio, you know what I mean? Because it's just one of those things, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Tupac, people that I love, as that influenced me, that was their drink of choice in the studio. So it's just a part of me. So anyways, I'm in the studio, I'm drinking Hennessy. You got some expensive Japanese whiskey, like you do.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And we're drinking out of red cups. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You know, we're not bougie like that. But you know what I mean? So we're drinking out of red cups. And I remember just, chiming in the meeting. We're all sitting in a circle. We're all on chairs. Ready Rock, he's there. He got shorts and a long sleeve. He has shorts, but a long sleeve. And then he has flip-flops. Right, which
Damn, you remember the?
Oh yeah, bro, I'm a detailing motherfucker, right? But and it was funny to me because it was, it was like I said, it was like I want to say January-ish, February maybe. It was a cold season, you know what I mean? It wasn't hot out. So just me as an observer, I thought that was funny in my own head. Like, look at this motherfucker. He's prepared with the long sleeve, but he got the shorts. It's like up top. His upper body was ready for Northern Cali, but his lower extremities were all about Southern Cali. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
And so this is me observing, right? And then at one point, I am faded. At one point, I showed up faded, right? And we're drinking, and like, I go to I'm trying to be like sophisticated, and I go and try to do one of those cross my legs things, and. You know what I mean? While we're sitting debating shit, and I kick the drink out of my own hand, and then whiskey splashes all over the place, right? But it got all over Ready Rock, and he's like, "This is why I don't allow drinking in my studio, right?" And it was funny because I was like, "God damn it, I don't know this guy." But my first impression is this motherfucker with the lavender boat shoes. It just spilled whiskey all over me, or splashed, right? And I was like, and then it was funny because he was introduced to me as DJ Ready Rock, right? Little did I know he had produced, now he's producing a couple tracks on me and Irv's album under his producer name, DJ Harmonics. And I didn't put the two and two together. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's so great. And I felt so bad down the road when I realized they were the same person. I was like, damn, the first time I met him, I done splashed him with all kind of expensive whiskey.
Which he's so cool about, though. He's really cool.
Yeah, he was really cool about it. And I swear to God, my excitement of me crossing my legs, kicking the own cup out of my hand, was when you said, you agreed with me. I was like, yeah, I'm a Sagittarius, and woo woo, and you're like, me too. And I go, no fucking way. And I kicked the drink out of my hand. I'm going to give you a high five. Like, yeah, we the shit. And whiskey splashes everywhere. And he was like, right, and hit the look on his. And he left 2 minutes later, like, yo, I'm done with this, right? And it was like, so that's my first impression, or at least his first impression of me. But I just want to let him know I have the utmost respect for him. I actually want to get him on the show. You know what I mean? He's an unsung hero in the industry, for real, from San Jose, or at least from this area. Because I don't know if he originates from here or not. But yeah, hell of a first impression. And even in that meeting, I remember it was all about, us, every one of us coming back to the game, because we all did other things for a while. You know what I mean? Like, we all went through what we would consider as artists as, the dry time, because, us as artists, as craft investors, you know what I mean? Like, we strive to say that our job is something we enjoy. You know what I mean? Because 9 out of 10 people, their career is something that they didn't, think that they were going to be doing. You know what I mean? People who don't, I'm not jealous or envy of people that don't have a craft. Motherfucker, you better be like knitting sweaters or some shit. You better be like, crocheting or some shit, or you better be like a painter, or it's anything, because that's all about containing sanity. Like, creating and feeding the creative soul is something from the dawn of man. Like, you know what I mean? That I'm proud to say that we have in us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And so that's getting back a little bit to Milk and Honey in the sense where we all did other things. And the origin of my music, just, Sundown Charlie, Clever MC, Audible Soul, like, we always felt like we didn't want, people to, we didn't want to force people to pay money to hear us, to actually do our craft. Like, we did it truly for art, and it was cool when people heard us and wanted to hear us, and if they wanted to pay for our music, then we wanted real fans. And that's like where we still are today, because we don't, like, if we would have chosen to use our craft for evil and not good, we probably would have sold out to a lot of different avenues in the music that were giving us opportunities for at that time. But it's it's because, like, this whole story that at least I'm sharing with you now, like, the artistry, like the innovation, the individuality, and the love for the craft is actually, what makes us who we are and why we are part of Head Nod today. But we were doing other things that, we were all doing other things.
That was beautiful. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Real talk, my success, from in corporate to being entrepreneur is just like, it's just constant traits, and you can all, like, it all comes back to Eastside San Jose, like the hustle that we had, whether you was a D-boy out here or whether you was going to school and you was nerding it out. Even the nerds,
Jamaicans. Like, all right, let's tell him this. I want to highlight. He said from the east side of San Jose. Even I just because that's me and that's us. That I'm a part of that too. That's why I wanted to emphasize that. There's something unsung as a whole from where we're from, specifically. Even, you know what I mean? Okay, go on.
Yeah, word. It was a sense that, the innovation, the creation. I mean, we growing up in the Silicon Valley, man, you see ballers every single day. It's not like down in LA. It's not like Hollywood where it's all in your face. I mean, but you see legit rich ass motherfuckers that, are wearing a t-shirt.
You ain't lying.
Right?
Like, where we're from, we've seen it become like farm. Like, come on, you were talking about McLaughlin and shit like that. If you were to go down Capitol and go down Aborn, and then you start to get to fucking vineyards again. Like, there was a time in San Jose it was all vineyards. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen these everything transform. You know what I mean? Even as far as the artistry. You know what I mean? Like, and you were a testament to that. Like, I love that you're on this pod right now because you're from where I'm from, and you are a pioneer on many levels. Even what's going on right now with the CBD movement and just the legal marijuana, the medical marijuana movement. You know what I mean? Being from San Jose, we were always on the cutting edge. There you go, right?
Right. Bleeding edge, technology, bleeding edge, ideas, bleeding edge.
I like that you call it bleeding edge. I like that. I'm about to run with that.
Word, yes. I like that. We want to, continue to be advanced and ahead of everybody. So the evolution of my entrepreneurial goals, Milk and Honey is like the third company that I started, and I've started a couple, two others back in 2011. So for me, I was always busy.
Third's a charm.
Exactly. And then there's another. I'm just never gonna stop. That's the grind.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Jamaicans, we ain't gonna never stop, Jamaicans.
Nah, just never gonna stop. And it's just like that with the music, right? Like Milk and Honey, connecting with the Sticky Icky, weed company, like
and Sticky Icky again, Playmakers. This is the branch that derives from East Palo Alto, which enters your homeboy email. We'll just go with that name. We don't need to use real names.
Right.
His name's email, right? And he is also one of the founders of our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX. Once again,
sir.
for all your CBD goodness and all your CBD wellness, go into the www.milkandhoneytx.com. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
now we're on the subject of entrepreneurship and innovative ship, that new word we made up, right? So, and touching on the rogues, shout out to all our rogues from PA.
What's up, bro?
What up, rogue? Right? So tell me bring me to that conversation when you guys, because you said this was your third attempt, right? At a company as far as this particular category with, like, in this case, medical marijuana, in this case specifically CBD, which is the innovation of life. You know what I'm saying? The shit they've been trying to prolong. You know what I mean? You are an innovator yourself, so you knew you were ahead of the curve, right? Mind you, I'm proud to say this because this is the sponsor of the Gimme Money Network, sponsor of the Get More Money Network, sponsor of the God Made Me Network, sponsor of the Get More Motivated, the Get More Money, whatever you want it for the GMM. You Milk and Honey TX, y'all motherfuckers are the backbone of the GMM network. You know what I mean? You guys are part of.
Word.
No, for real though. Like, bro, like, when I told you in the beginning too, I was like, don't worry about. I was like, I'm not trying to get anything but a discount for people that can buy products for themselves, right? I was like, listen, I believe in the product. You know what I mean? I want to get in on the ground level on something I believe in. Like I said, I believed in it, and I only said this because, I could have felt. I would have felt the same way, regardless, about the product and about the brand Milk and Honey TX. But the fact that you believed in me, and then that you were on the ground level, the precursor to me doing this right here, this podcasting shit. I was just an artist, and I was trying to expand my horizon, so to speak, right? You were the first person that I thought of. I was like, bro, if there's any way I can help, you know what I mean, and beneficial in both ways, you know what I mean. I don't want to sound like a weasel by any means, and I know you don't take it as that by any sense, but I knew that we could both benefit. I knew that there was a way that, like, something I believe in, that believes in me, we could together broadcast this shit. You know what I mean? And like, yeah. So okay. So that was a little side note, Playmakers. So take me to the conversation. Like, I mean, I know there was other things that probably led up to this. But what was the conversation like with you and Email when you was like, all right, we finna do this thing. Like, we finna get on it because in the past 2 years, the CBD movement was on the rise, and you guys were on the bleeding edge, as my man Charlie would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So essentially, I was gonna consult for Sticky Icky, and Sticky Icky Bud.
That was their shit originally.
That was their stuff. Yeah, they so
shout out to Band-Aid and them.
Shout out to Band-Aid and Hood So let me tell you, backdrop on their story.
I know Band-Aid and them too.
Yeah,
I know them through Dino.
Yeah,
shout out to Dino. Derek Thompson. Are you aware of him?
I'm not aware of Derek Thompson, but I'm new to Band-Aid and the whole Sticky Icky family. Right. But they embraced me, and so essentially, Sticky Icky Bud and me and our daughters, we played on the same AAU basketball team. We're down in LA, and we actually finished our tournament.
Oh my God, I wouldn't doubt if Derek was coaching. Derek Thompson, the Dino, the dude I was talking about, he's a coach. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, I'm sure that's probably for another EPA team called Roadrunners.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he coached the girls basketball team, and he was legit.
Yeah,
And they
legit.
oh yeah. And
Legit, okay.
his pops was like locally famous. He coached at Menlo High for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coach Thompson.
Okay. Do you know?
Yeah.
So yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's how I met Sticky Bud. We talked a lot about business, and I basically was consulting at this time with one of my other companies. And so basically, I said, "Man, I want to help you because these brothers were a victim of the cannabis and the private sector, what they did to incarcerate us.
You're right.
And it was a damn shame to allow all these goofies to actually make money now, and at the expense of what other people sacrifice.
Hold on. Playmakers, you hear that? All these goofies. I want by definition, that means suckers. Are you funny? But specifically, funny style suckers is what we call goofies. Go on.
Word. Exactly. And they was actually coming up, and so I'm like, no, I love the story of these brothers in EPA giving back to EPA, and so I was like, hey, I'm gonna consult. They were like, yo, we don't want to pay your price, whatever, but let's work together. And essentially from those interactions, they said, man, let's rock the CBD, because I know some other cats, they're just getting rid of this hash, this other part of it.
Yeah, because it's so abundant too, Playmakers. Where we're from, it's so abundant. And it comes to a point where now the cleanery of it, right? If your product fits the criteria, because everybody's extracting, but if you're extracting, you have to do it by a certain guideline where it can be lab tested and approved in order to be considered medicinal, because anybody can extract using chemicals or whatever, and it's basically dope. That's like dope. No, this is medicine. They have innovated. Milk and Honey has innovated their extraction methods, and is all natural. This is like in its purest form. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, I'm not just saying this because they sponsor us. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying this because I stand behind the products that sponsor us. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Yeah. Word. So that's essentially it. And me, Email and I just really got together. Band-Aid, Sticky Bud, and we like, let's do this. And so the brothers were so embracing. And we just went ahead.
So now that I have you on, right? And you know what I'm saying? And we'll continue the timeline, but this is a great place in the timeline that we're at. I want you to elaborate on some of these products, you know what I'm saying, for the Playmakers, because I want, I encourage everybody to check these products out. I want you to tell them some about your, your most popular items, and because all these CBD products, they specify something to help your quality of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the Milk and Honey product line is really about edibles, sublinguals, and topicals more than anything else.
Yep.
And
topicals give me money. Those are the ones.
Give me money.
Those are the ones.
Topicals give me money. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Topicals, in a sense, our topicals really are all organic, allergy-free, and gluten-free. A lot of, just...
And those are the two things. Allergy-free and gluten-free are the two things American consumers look for if they're looking at the box. You know what I mean? Especially Caucasian consumers, right? They're like, let me see here. Gluten-free, right? Okay, allergen. Oh, this is great. Honey. You're not allergic to this. You know what I mean? Bro,
yeah.
That is fucking... Okay, go on. It's phenomenal.
Yo, so... essentially, the topicals are very point-specific products. The balms that I use, I mean, and another thing, if I step back, I got into it because I was looking for healthy alternatives for my back injuries. And I have...
Did you injure your back from trying to uplift the world for all these years? Ah, Jamaicans. That was a good one. I like that one. We're gonna chop that as we're making that a clip. The motherfucker that injured his back trying to carry the world and uplift the world. God damn it.
You know?
Church
That
him.
part.
That part.
So I tore my L4 disc between L4 and L5, and was taking hella ibuprofen, killing my kidneys.
Did that make you realize, as a man, mortality?
Man,
Bro,
no doubt.
I had a hernia. I mean, I got a hernia, and I remember when I got the hernia, bro. I was like, the worst realization when I got a hernia was, oh my god, I'm human. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know us, we're Sagittarius. We're unstoppable. You know what I mean? And bro, like, so you essentially, was it a herniated disc? Like, by definition, like, what was it? Like a bulging disc?
It was torn.
Oh,
a torn disc, right? So a torn disc between L4 and L5 left me almost to the point when I first happened where I couldn't even walk. My daughter had to help me put on my shoes. And literally, I was in so much pain. I ended up getting a steroid injection, which I hated drugs, but my acupuncturist is like, yo, because I was going to go get a surgery. Acupuncturist like, yo, why don't you take these herbs and let me work on you for a couple months before you go. And keep taking these ibuprofen. Let's get you off the ibuprofen. And, let's get you on these herbs.
Because
you might as well.
We definitely touched on that earlier. Like, that shit fucks up your liver, fucks up your kidneys. And, we some drinking motherfuckers, too. So it's like, you add that in the combination. It's like, yeah, man, that's terrible.
Well, if you look at anything that's manufactured, is processed, is really a problem. Yeah. It's really a problem for the human body in general.
Yeah,
and so, like, these herbs, plus at that point I took ibuprofen, and I was taking so much ibuprofen it was messing me up. So I ended up getting one steroid injection, which she didn't advise against, but it was either that or a surgery, and I chose that. And then she actually healed me over a series of months with these herbs, and she says, Carl, you might want to try, some THC and some CBD. And I go, well,
damn, hell of a doctor. Shout out. Shout out to her. Because especially because doctors, they will try to like only talk about things that you're covered insurance wise, instead of like really like leveling with the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, and going back to what I said in the beginning of this podcast, you were someone that always leveled with me. That's why I respect you, and you always talk to me like, you always talk to me as an equal. And I say that because I always looked up to your guys' accomplishments. You know what I mean? But yeah, so this broad, this doctor, so she is strongly suggesting outside medicine. Right?
Yeah,
as far as this time.
Eastern medicine, all the way.
Eastern medicine, there you go.
Yeah. And so her approach actually over time, healed me. And I got deep into CBD after that. And I always took it. And then when I had the opportunity, to actually create a business with some brothers that I love their story. And here we are.
Shout out. We don't need to say no names, but shout them all out. You feel me? Jamaicans.
Yeah, for sure. Email, Band-Aid to Hood Star. Band-Aid's doing some amazing things. Get ready to release, his next album.
Side note, I worked for a magazine back in an online magazine, and then shortly after, I tried to create my own online magazine. And shout out to my boy Dino, I was telling you about. Dino is it's DKNOW, like Dino. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, if you ask Band-Aid, next time you're talking about it, ask about Dino, ask about Derek Thompson. That's his real name. Bro,
Okay.
he's a hell of an individual. I'm actually gonna get him on the show one day. You know what I mean? But long story longer, this man, in particular, Dino. You know what I'm saying? He introduced me to all them back in the day, and that when I met them, first of all, I was a fan for years, and then they went through that whole Rico shit, like the fucking boys, the D's, them boys, they hit them with the Rico shit like unimaginable. You know what I'm saying? Because these motherfuckers, Band-Aid and company. I don't even want to say the gang that the boys, label them as. I don't even want to say that. I'm not even gonna give them boys credit. But these motherfuckers, they try to shut them down, and Band-Aid and Band-Aid when he got out, you know what I'm saying? He was just one of those individuals that was like, especially between the two of them in the Hood Stars, he would venture out and collab with motherfuckers. Like, so I had several encounters with him. Like, he used to do shows, like, bro, like we would do hella shows with them. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like I 100% guarantee he won't remember me. You know what I mean? Like, by name. Because they were popping. They've been all around. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't blame him, but I guarantee if he wouldn't remember Dino, because Dino is his man till this day. You know what I mean? Shout out to Dino.
Shout out.
Yeah. Yeah, but okay. So go on. So Band-Aid. So this is dope. I didn't know the extent of Milk and Honey, and as far as how it branches out. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I mean, without Sticky Icky, I don't think we have a Milk and Honey. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we come in. And so the saga continues to build this great brand. And the beautiful thing about our products is they work really well. And they've been able to really help. And I mean, that's the other part, right? So the conscious part of who I am and what I believe my mission is, given unto God to help and bless people, is to offer stuff like this that is life-changing. So we already have, a couple examples of our very own Cell 1 and Prime 1 that, have taken these products in times of need. And, what I did was just hustle up and deliver them to my peoples so that they can get the relief that they're looking for. And legit, my man.
Tell the Playmakers how gratifying it is when someone gives you a testimony about how they use their product and it helped their quality of life. Tell me how high that made you feel. It's gotta be a hell of a feeling.
It's like no other feeling in the world, and especially when you have sincere respect and love for the people that you're giving it to.
Right.
Like, and in that mode, like you feel like a doctor almost, where like my man Cell.
Listen, we're not doctors, but and nor do we play doctors on television. But we bring you that. We bring you that Milk and Honey.
Like that, for sure. Legit. When I heard, like, I was actually going back and forth with Cell and
did we lose him? I knew we lost him. Hold on. Oh, we lost him. We're gonna get him back. Hold on. Call Clev on FaceTime audio.
Making a FaceTime audio call to.
Thank you, baby. Things like this can occur in the field, but we're coming right back. Hold on. Give us a second, Playmakers. Hold on, Clev. We brought you back. My trap phone and died. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Check us out, Playmakers. We are continuing to bring you that contamination-free corona climate confinement content, and things like this can occur in the field. We are utilizing, the internet is all jammed up with people using video chat. We're going old school in this day and age using the fucking FaceTime. You know what I'm saying? Now we're back though. We're back.
Yes, sir. Legit. When Cell and I were going back and forth, and I just, I felt the pain, of being sick, it's like, that I wanted to do something to help and, restore him. He has a son and, family, and as just men, when we go through something, we don't always reach out for help all the time. We'll grit and bear it, right?
And check this out. For all my young men playmakers, don't think you're a bitch looking for help. Listen, the genius asked questions. Let me repeat that. The genius asks questions. That means if there's some way or another that there's something you don't know, you're a dumbass if you're not trying to find out. The genius asks questions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, don't think that makes you less of a man or anything like that. Playmakers, go ahead.
Word. Well, in general, I just offered up because I really felt like in a time of need that this, my products would actually make a difference.
Oh, yeah.
And, essentially,
I can attest
that comes, right, man. It's just like, yo, this is going to work for you. And so, I rushed over to do that. I rushed over, when my man Prime 1, of course, we got to keep Prime 1, tip-top shape, right? So,
he has the smoothest shaft. This side of the Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? He might have had some eczema on his shaft. And bruh, that motherfucking topical for Milk and Honey.
Yes,
he has the smoothest shaft this side of the Mississippi.
Check that body bomb out.
Pause.
Check that body bomb.
Big pause. That was a pause. Big pause.
Hey, I got love for the shaft, no homo, right?
Yeah. Or in
right?
this case, pause.
Pause.
Yeah, that's the PC version. Pause, right? Because they shout out to the LGBT community, but they take that offensive. But pause is suffice. Yes.
Right. So, in general, this is how Milk and Honey story is got connected. This is where we all got connected. Here we are on this date, and if you look back, as I'm telling you this story, it's only right. It only makes sense that we continue to hustle together. We continue to make music together because it's just a perfect evolution of where our whole lives have come. And
yes.
So it's pretty exciting, leading up to the new release that I'm dropping next week called Crush. I mean that particular song, I reached out and the universe gave me, a brother in South Africa named Calm Lion to come and bless us with a hook. Man, and the song is
awesome.
Crazy. Yeah, it was just amazing how that is going on. So he's promoting Crush at a local radio station in Nigeria, in Lagos.
Shout out to all my Nigerians. Bro, so check us out. I started this series, right? There's a group of Nigerian brothers. They're brothers and cousins. They're hella deep. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Wise Up.
Yes, sir.
Those are all my guys. I've been getting them all on the podcast because, I've grown with them. You know what I mean? And Nigerians they have a special place in Bogard's heart. Like, these motherfuckers have took me in and bro, I'm telling you, like, it's one of those things, bro. Like, these are I hold them in a high regard because of the ones I know personally in life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I just wanted to point that out because there's, the same way in the industry, if there's ever anything great going on, there's someone from the Bay Area in that circle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And in this case too, is like, bro, like in the world scale, a lot of my Nigerian homies are involved in like innovation, and I just wanted to point that out. So it doesn't surprise me that there's a Nigerian in the mix, is what I want to say.
Mm-hmm. So legit, this song, I mean, it's just it's just a continued evolution, a continued journey that, unfortunately, coronavirus shut up, a really good opportunity for us to go and do the video in Jamaica and Paris, because we were definitely thinking about a head nod trip to do the video out there and kick it. Also shout out Limelight cafe in St. Anne, Jamaica, which
Jamaicans.
we were,
Boom, 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 boom.
we were gonna do the video at Limelight to big up my boy's new business. It's a bar out there in St. Anne. We were gonna do the video out there, but we'll see where all this corona virus leads us. But it's my true intention to get my man Calm Lion and Head Nod out to Jamaica to shoot a video at the Limelight and just party it up.
Yeah. Man, and you know what's crazy is like even in the corona climate, confinement, it's a bitch because it's like, damn, like it really is putting a halt to like people's, their normal way of living, their normal way of like aspiring. You know what I mean? But you and I both know we are just going to steady adapt. You know what I mean? It is
and innovate.
Yes. Of course, Jamaicans. Pew, pew, pew. Mind you, my trap phone done died, so like now, I'm using the regular phone, so I can't hit the Jamaicans, but they're in me. Pause. Jamaicans.
Pause.
Pew, 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 pew.
Right on. Yes, sir.
Okay, so now I feel like we're at the current day, right? We're in the present day as far as the timeline. So let's go ahead and tell the Playmakers. Tell them what you got coming out right now. And you know what I'm saying? Because as soon as we close out, I'm going to go, because now that my trap phone's dead, I'm going to go ahead and play Church as part of the ride out. You know what I mean? So before we close up, I want you to let everybody know. You know what I'm saying? Because mind you, this is only part one. Yeah, I mean, I think we went for a few hours too. This is gonna be a hell of a one. And even Ep was telling me, shout out to Ep, shout out to Prime,
shout out to Ep,
shout out to Cell One. They were telling me, they were like, nobody's gonna listen to your shit when it's like super long. And I'm like, and it kind of motivated me. I was like, I hear you, but we're living in a different day and age right now. Like I am fully adapting. Like people are they're sitting down and listening to long standing interviews. Like I've got DMs from people telling me, bro, I love the fantasy analyst that you're bringing on. I love the artists you're bringing on. They're finding out art through me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Shout out to myself. My album coming out is called Art Imitating Life because that's what it is. Like, you know what I mean? This is the art imitates life. I'm not that creative where I could look outside and copy what's going on. I had to live it. You know what I mean? In order to be able to paint this picture and illustrate it. And I know you are a testament to that. You are a life liver. You are an innovator. You're a goddamn sundown Charlie. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now tell us more about what Sundance. See, I almost did it again. Sundown. You know why I keep saying that? First of all, the Sundance Kid, because Butch Cassidy. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Oh yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you understand. It's in print. It's instilled in my pop culture memory. You know what I mean? Where like, you know what I mean? But I love the name because it suits. It suits you. Like, you know what I mean? We are creatures of the night. We are people who are left and right brain users. You know what I'm saying? Like our brain, we simultaneously use both sides of the brain. And that comes from being marijuana enthusiasts. That comes from being from the Bay Area. It comes from being cut from a cloth of journeymen. Like you said, your dad was in the service. He took you all over the place. So you were able to like carry with you different cultures, different perspectives, walks of life, even, you know what I mean? And like like I hate that. When we close the show up, I'm gonna play church because I wanted you to be on air with me while I played church, because church is one of those ones where I was like, wow, like I felt it as a consumer, as a fan. I felt that track. You know what I mean? Like I was, or even your new joint that's coming out pretty soon, Body. Right? I remember when I heard Body, I was like, motherfuckers, dude. Like I was like, it made me like go back to the drawing board as a songwriter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, god damn it, because it was so fly. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it was just one of those ones. Like, wow, people are gonna like this one. You know what I mean? Like, not even hating at all, but as an artist, like, because what we as artists. What we do should drive competition. It should make the next man motivated and inspired. It should make them want to be better. You know what I mean? And going back to what I said earlier, that's why I'm a reflection of who I surround myself with. You know what I mean? So tell me about the music that's coming out, and then tell everyone where they can find you. You know what I'm saying? And this is definitely only part one of the Sundown Charlie story. You know what I mean? So tell everyone what you got coming and where they can find you on all the socials, everything.
Yes, absolutely. So essentially, Sundown Charlie is about to release the first under that persona. So that'll be released on Head Nod, and you'll be able to find, on Apple Music, Spotify, all your favorite streaming platforms. But just find yourself coming over here to Clev MC and my IG profile to get all the latest and greatest. That's the best source to find all the Sundown Charlie's releases. But we have Crush coming out, as I mentioned, next week, and that's a beautiful song. It's a very Afro beat, very uplifting, and summer vibe. It's really cool. Your ladies are gonna love it. We'll be following that one up with Addicted, which will have some really, that's high def, and that high def production from Frat Music. We got Body, of course. That's ridiculous with Cell One on the hook. It's so fire, and Mr. Epic has just laid some of the best verses I've heard. Literally. I think this is some of his best stuff.
He can vouch. You vouch. He can vouch.
I'm vouching. Yeah.
I vouch as well.
And the whole vibe is very sexy, man. So you're gonna love that. And you can find it on our IG page, Mr. Epic, Audible Soul, and Clev MC, as well as Head Nod Studios at headnod.com. All the streaming platforms you'll be able to find on Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal. So it's gonna be a pretty epic summer, if I can use Ep's pun intended. Pun intended. It is about to be off the chain, and not to say, last but not least, your shit is always innovative and always special, man. You are one of the dopest lyricists that I have heard in San Jose. Legit. I love your bars. I love what you got to say. You and Herb together make an amazing combo. I enjoy, what you put out into the atmosphere for us to appreciate.
Bruh, I want to tell you something. From one Sagittarius to the next, you're goddamn right we're dope. You know what I mean? You're fucking goddamn right. You know what I'm saying? You thought I was going to go humble right there, huh? Listen. We are artists. Yes, bro. Brody, I want to tell you. It's the respect from my peers more than ever weighs heavy on my creative soul. The respect from my peers is something that I strive for. Like you know what my favorite shit is, bro? My favorite shit is I'm playing a slap and the next motherfucker in the same room as me, he goes, "Oh, that shit's hard. Who's that?" I go, "That's me." And the motherfucker always goes, "Shut the fuck up. Shut up." Right? Because I'm such a character, right? They don't think that this serious content, the serious rap or the serious lyricism, whatever it is, artistry coming out the speaker. They can't believe that it's coming from someone like me because I'm just such a fucking character, you know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, there's many layers, you know what I mean? Like, and even there was one time you slid through the GMM studios, right? So check the GMM network. You slid through one time, right? Shout out to Matty Law. It was me, you, and Matty Law. We were about to do a track the day after. And so we had congregated just to brainstorm and get loaded and, just vibe, right? Because this was during the time when Prime One, shout out to Prime One, he was like, bro, you guys all need a vibe. I need everybody to just integrate, you know what I mean? And like, we were the first ones to just reach out to that aspect. Like, yeah, slide through, right? So it was me, you, and Matty Law. Shout out to Matty Law. Right?
Shout out, Matty Law. Yeah.
Right? And like, I had sent several tracks in the group thread. And little did I know, you were like downloading them, like to your playlist. And you were playing some joints, and you're like, yeah, and you were playing my joint called Snow Bunny, which is off my album coming out. And you're like, yo, this is my shit. And I go, that's me. And you're like, oh shit, that's you. Like, all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, that's Bogard. You're Bogard. Yeah. And bro, like, that's what I live for. You know what I mean? Like, motherfuckers that just, they're so hit off guard with the artistry and the craft that it's undeniable, you know what I mean? And that, like, and with that said, that's why we continue to do this. Like, we know even in ourselves, in our own heart of hearts, it's undeniable what we do. Like, this is part of our service. If for those of you playmakers that believe in something great like we do, this is something greater in us telling us this is what we're supposed to do. We're bringing some type of joy. We're bringing some type of perspective, some type of innovation, some type of inspiration to the consumer, to the person, the viewer, the listener, all that. When they hear our shit, it makes them want to be better. And I would say personally, and I hope you can, and I know you can attest to this, we do that for that. We do that to leave a mark. We do that to for the next man up and coming. To get inspired and aspire to be like us. You know what I mean? Like, and be greater than us. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No doubt.
That was pretty good, huh? I didn't even write no.
It was dope. Yeah, that was it. Man, that was very. I mean, legit. It's the whole reason why we do the music, man. And yes. I'm always just. I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised by what we continue to produce, because you don't really know you're going to produce it, but you know you can produce it.
Oh yeah, and that's, dude. Tell the playmakers, or at least vouch for me. Playmakers, I don't promote using drugs or any of that, but I will promote chasing the ultimate high. And there's several ultimate highs that you can achieve without utilizing drugs or substances. And in this case, making music and getting a rise out of people and getting people to vibe with it. It's the ultimate high. It is the high. It is like when someone loves your music and appreciates it and rocks with it. It's one of the ultimate highs. And I encourage all you playmakers to continue to chase your dream, if it's with music or anything. Just chase your dream, because dreams can be achieved. Fuck wishing. Bogard will always say wishing is for suckers. But what I'll always say is a goal is a wish without a plan. You know what I'm saying? So set your goals, have a plan, follow it through, be a playmaker, and strive to be playmaker as Fuck.
Hey.
Hey, Jamaicans. Bro,
Right on.
one more time, let them know where they can find you. And like I said, soon as man, I hate to even let you go, man, because I think I think this might be a two-parter. We might be on 2 hours. I don't know. I have no concept of time in the Corona climate, man. Mind you, actually, there's actually one more thing. Tell me how you're dealing with the Corona climate confinement. Like, I mean, because I know you're still working, and you're fortunate that you can work from home. But tell me, like, what's the mind state right now? Like, tell me because I know you're in. We are both from we live in the Santa Clara County. As it stands right now, the Santa Clara County Playmakers. You can look this up. We have the fastest rising Corona case numbers, the highest even. Tell me how you're dealing with this Corona climate confinement. You know what I mean? Break it down for me.
Yeah, the toughest challenge has been, having my daughter home 24 hours a day and doing the distance
because
learning.
Normally it's like, get the fuck out of here for 8 or 6 hours at school, right? Seriously,
Right.
I ain't lying.
Right.
I feel you. Okay, go on.
You have to focus, man. Like, I'm still, as you mentioned, I'm working from home, and the crazy thing is, ever since that happened, you're actually more busy because you're having more phone calls, more action items to do, more things you got to get done, and the demand on your time is becoming even more, ridiculous. So you got that complemented by, the challenge of distance learning and kids automatically having to be college students. Like my daughter's a sixth grader.
I like how you said that too, because college students, they need to take a lot upon themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah, so like, and I feel you on that. I have a 12-year-old, and it's like, and I'll be telling her, I'm like, baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because you think, your version of things going on right now is your version. Let me tell you what's really going on, and we've been trying to like sugarcoat it, but I'm not sugarcoating shit. I'm telling you, this is what it is. And just because the world is pausing, not your schooling. Now we're on Zoom. Now we're, you got all this homework in the email. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of a sudden, I'm Professor Bogey. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm Mr. Scott. Yeah. I'm a fucking teacher now. You know what I mean? And but I was always a counselor. You know what I mean? I was always a father.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to let them know that it's about adaptation. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you know what's so sad? Like, when I get Instagram or Snapchat memories right now, because I'll see it and I'll be like, damn. I'll watch them and I'll be like, god damn, I remember that world. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah.
It's so crazy because I think that the end isn't anywhere near as far as what's going on right now, the protocol, because they really don't got one. You know what I mean? They really don't got protocol. We're kind of just flying by the seat of our pants. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So I really think.
As far as work goes, do you still have to wake up and check in at a certain time?
Yeah, man. It doesn't change. My routine hasn't changed much, with the exception of getting up, not driving, to get in traffic.
And check this out, Playmakers. I've actually rode in his car, and he doesn't drive because he got the Tesla, and he'll let that motherfucker drive, and we'll roll up and smoke, and we riding. Shout out to Tesla.
Legit.
Big
shout
up,
out to
big up to
Matty
Elon
Long
Musk.
and Mark Price on Head Nod, our first video to inaugurate our group. Turn it up, like that was pretty sick. That was pretty sick.
Okay, now we have entered the dumb question part of the interview. How awesome is a Tesla?
Oh my God, Best car I've ever driven.
Yeah, but or not driven, right?
Yeah, not driven. Like, I mean, it's like not driving, but driving, and that is. I've never felt a car that was race car and a Cadillac all in one. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
So,
all right, now. All right, here's another one, right? If this is like, you know, mind you, I used to work for an online magazine and I used to write all kind of cliche questions for me to ask artists, right? But here's a great one that I always thought that was great, even though it was cliche. It's like, in one word, right? In one word, and I got one already, but in one word, how could you describe your craft?
my craft in terms of my lyrics.
Just everything, bro. Everything. Your craft. That's why I said craft. So it's more vague because you're a man of many layers. So I can't just say craft as a music. Just in general. If you or how about this? As a human being, as a man, as an entity, as Sundown Charlie, Clev MC, in one word, as clever as you could think of. If you could narrow it down to one word to describe you and your craft and your movement, your existence, what would you say? I got one. I'll say it after.
Man, I mean, I got 2 words, but it's only,
okay.
If I had to choose one, energy.
Ooh! What was the other one?
Elevated.
Okay, but elaborate on energy, because I love the elevating is self-explanatory. You definitely elevate me. So tell me about the energy, because I agree with the energy too, but you tell me about the energy. Elaborate on that.
I've always been a high energy person. I've always kept my frequencies high. And it's because of my energy that I swear that has opened so many doors
and for it got me to meeting you.
Right. It's if I wasn't who I was and you weren't who you were, we wouldn't be doing things together. And I count that, I really count that as a result of the type of frequency we keep our energy at.
Right.
And we have that ability to dial that shit down and up when we need it. You are a confident ass motherfucker. You are one confident ass motherfucker.
Are we talking about me?
I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah, Jamaica. Oh yeah.
Borderline.
I thought you was
arrogant,
looking in the mirror. I was like, he's looking in the mirror right now. He's in third person mode right now. I was like, wait a second, is that me?
Borderline arrogant, right?
Oh yeah.
You
definitely.
gotta be,
oh, yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Sundown Charlie, borderline arrogant, borderline confident, right? Like there's
all confident.
There's not shit that I think I can't do, right? And so, to get people this powerful together, and for me, myself, and I, when you mention the word energy, it's my ability to keep my frequency high and attract brothers like yourself, and that's the key, you know.
That is one of the most innovative statements I've heard in a long time. Jamaicans, bro. And to go back to my one word to describe you, as far as my experience with you and my encounter with you and my existence, our relationship, etc., I would say innovation, man, because even just what you said, man, that was like, by definition, innovating is like a new way, you know what I mean? A brand new, you know what I mean? And even the way you had just said that, it innovated the way I even thought about you as an innovator. You know what I mean? Mind you, you did highlight the fact that I'm the shit, right? Like,
right.
That's what I read. I read between the lines. I was like, yeah. I'm the
summary.
Shit too.
In summary, I'm the shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm the shit. You the shit. You know what? Reflection, birds of a feather, reflections of who we surround ourselves with. Oh yeah. And as an artist, Playmakers, as an artist, there is a level of arrogance you have to keep because this is a doggy dog world. But also humility, being humble. You know what I mean? Like going through trials and tribulations. This is, these are things I'm pointing out that is part of the storyline that and the timeline that we done mapped out for the Clev MC, for Sundown Charlie himself. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Hell of a story. I want to emphasize the fact that the story still continues. Like I love witnessing this firsthand. That this is not over. Like, the man that like that I met while we're spilling whiskey where I was. You know what I mean? All over Ready Rock and shit like that. Like when I met you, before I met you, I was already aware of the content and the substance and the realism that comes through the music. You know what I mean? And granted, the fact that we're Sagittarius and the fact that I know the universe never steers us wrong, it brought us together, bro. And I wanna formally thank you firsthand for being episode 6 of the Playmakers as fuck. Real Fantasy Playmakers is our other show, which I was looking on my show my show sheet, because yes, I make show sheets where it's like little points to just bring up, right? And we're gonna close out, but we're gonna close out in the Real Fantasy Playmakers fashion. What the fuck is going on with your fucking Cowboys? How do you feel? About Mike McCarthy? Like, just in a nutshell, right now, what's your outlook on this season coming up? Like, as a diehard Cowboy fan.
I'm optimistic. We got the talent to be right there. If we could put it together, we had a travesty of coaching.
A travesty.
Yes,
Jason Garrett. Say his name. Don't even say it. I said it. His name was Jason Garrett. And he claps.
Boy.
He just stays on the sideline. He's clapping.
He's a fuck boy, is what he is.
Yeah.
So,
Jason Garrett, don't give me money.
Don't give me money. Like,
he doesn't.
Jason Garrett,
he doesn't.
No pause. Like, that fool is just ridiculous. Let me tell you, we had such an ability to be there on 3 different seasons, but the travesty of coaching situations, being out schemed by lesser teams.
By everyone?
Everybody, yeah.
By the New York Jets. You wanted to say the New York Jets.
Oh, God.
That one game.
You had to bring that up.
I had to bring it up. Come on. Full transparency.
Legit, I've had a bag on my, when I say I grabbed a bag, like, it wasn't good.
Yeah, he had a bag.
It wasn't.
I remember.
I had a bag.
You ain't playing.
Yeah. So
we some bag having motherfuckers, and we also are some bag throwing motherfuckers.
It's been tough the last 3 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons to be a Cowboy fan, and the last 10 seasons in particular, I was the cat that went to Oxnard for training camp every year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was there. I was in it. I would go travel for games 2 and 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And when I came, I recall coming back home from a Minnesota Vikings game up in Minnesota.
Oh my God, this is the Thursday nighter?
It was a Thursday night.
Yeah, I remember it, bro.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Sam Bradford tore y'all up. It was like, what the fuck, Sam Bradford?
Bruh, legit, the ride home was so long, and it was I was so irritated that I said I'm done traveling.
I remember that.
To watch games for the Cowboys.
You frequent Texas too, right?
Oh God, I would come back from Texas. Like, I think there was only one time I traveled there, where we won. And I was like, and it wasn't because we couldn't win. It was because we had a fuckboy-ass coach who could not coach situational football. It was ridiculous.
Right?
I mean, he couldn't scheme, and then when he would script his plays, and then all of a sudden, when you ate your lunch, when someone out-schemed him, he couldn't make halftime adjustments. One of the greatest things that I love about Belichick Even though I don't like the team,
He makes in-quarter adjustments.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Belichick is one of the greatest. So
check me out.
Yeah.
Give me 10. I'm gonna go do a 10-second run again. Tell me how you feel about the Mike McCarthy, bringing in Mike McCarthy, and tell me about the what feels, because I feel like I'm an honorary fan of every team because it's part of my business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I am so happy you kept on Kellen Moore. You know what I mean? So tell me about what do you expect with Dak under Mike McCarthy, all that. I'm gonna go take a piss real quick. I'll be back in like 7 seconds.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not a great fan of Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was not a starter in the league, and but you don't have to be a starter to be an excellent coach. But he doesn't have a pedigree of excellence for Super Bowl caliber championships. So that's what I'm thankful that Mike McCarthy brings, is having, been right there with Aaron Rodgers and helping Aaron, to accomplish some good things along with Holmgren. So I'm expecting Mike McCarthy to put hands on Dak and Kellen Moore to get more out of him this year.
Check this out. I think it's such a blessing in disguise. Not even a blessing in disguise. Fuck Jason Garrett. Mm-hmm. Get the fuck out of there. Because listen, I'm a Niner fan. All the playmakers know. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a realist. And, bro, to keep it all the way funky and solid, Jerry Jones, we're going to find out this year, without Jason Garrett, if it was Jason Garrett for years or if it was Jerry Jones. And then it would, because I would feel, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'd be like, God damn it, there's nothing we can do until he passes. You know what I mean? And then
even
Stephen
then,
Jones,
because he's gonna have an Al Davis effect.
Yeah, where Stephen Jones comes in, like how Mark Davis came in.
Yeah, no doubt, exactly the same. But Stephen Jones is smart enough to know he'll let somebody else coach.
I tell you this much, I love me some Michael Gallup. Mm-hmm. Michael Gallup is the truth. They just paid a shitload of money to Amari Cooper. I'm not mad that they paid him, but because it was more like you gotta pay him to keep Dak around, but they're only gonna keep franchising Dak. It's like respect and disrespect all in one. Hey Dak, here's your number one guy. We're gonna keep him around, but we want to pay you what we think you deserve. Hey, here's the franchise tag. You know what I mean? And
legit. Dak earned the franchise tag.
Hey, I like Dak, bro. As a human being, bro, he's like a friend. He kind of has the same background as you. His dad's a military man. You know what I mean? He grew up. He's like a frontierman. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's all about the woods and chopping wood and fucking, hunting and, Dak Prescott's a man's man. You know what I mean?
But he's hella inaccurate.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I know, right? Everything I said had nothing to do with football.
Right. Let me tell you something. If that brother was more accurate, we would have won, 5 more games. Because he's got two soft spots. One, the ability to read a defense pre-snap, and then 2, overthrowing, and so footwork and, positioning. So he earned the right to have a franchise tag because he didn't play well enough to earn a contract.
But he had a career year.
You were gonna have a career year.
Yeah.
I mean, the game has changed.
Yes.
You can't touch nobody. You're gonna have 1,000-yard wide receivers. It doesn't mean you run routes good. Okay? So, if you look at the biggest games that we had, and this is me being a fanatical Cowboy fan.
Yes, I can attest to that. You are.
All right?
Yeah.
I'm a fanatical fan.
Luckily, you're a Sagittarius where, like, you take it in all humility when everyone's trying to shit on you. You know what I mean?
I mean, legit, all the Niner fans are riding on us because, all those years,
except me, though. Come on, you know me. Because everybody knows I'm a diehard Niner fan, but I'm also a realist, and I have to be when I'm doing this fantasy shit. You know what I mean? I have to be able to look at everything. I have to be able to call a spade, if it's a spade is a spade or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Tito's giving me money.
Legit, Cowboys will have a much better year. I don't know. I think Philly has the edge because of the coaching, but I do think we're right there. So I love the pickup of Alden.
I know that. You know what's funny, dog? Somebody sent me that, and it was on April 1st, and I had been getting got. I had been getting got all day. Like, I was like, bro, I'm not getting got no more. Shut the fuck up. Because, mind you, I'm me. So, yes, I'm a Niner, but I'm in several different threads. I'm in the Cowboys thread because, shout out to my boy Manny. I don't know where the fuck he is nowadays, but he was my Cowboys insider, bro. This dude was like, he was part of the scouting team. Like, I knew this guy. I don't know where he's at nowadays, right? But, like, I used to fuck my Cowboy homies up. I'd be like, bro, you guys are going to trade away. So, you guys just traded for Tavon Austin. No, we didn't. I'm like, yes, you did. And then, boom, the news would hit. And they'd be like, how the fuck did you know that? Don't worry. I got a guy. You know what I mean? Like, I knew a guy. You know what I mean? And I don't know where he's at nowadays. So now it's like when I see the Cowboys doing what they're doing, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Because I used to have an inside guy. You know what I mean? Pause. You know what I mean? But I had to. See, I'm so glad that you're on the pause hype now. Like, now when you listen to my podcast, you'll just crack up because it's the ultimate inside joke. Like, especially because I talk about fantasy or football in general. I'm not being like, this dude right here, he's long, man. Long stride, built, strong. Pause. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm talking about, like, athletes with, like, you know what I mean? If I was listening, I would laugh and be like, ah, you know what I mean? But yes, so pause. But yes, that's just one of those things where I'm like, my Cowboys, I used to have a Cowboy insider and my Cowboy homies, you know what I mean? Like, it's the first year, bro. I'll tell you this much. It's the first year. They're like, oh, we ain't going to win the Super Bowl this year. Because every year, all my Cowboys homies, bro, we're going to win this year, bro. And I'm like, word. You know what I mean? Like, and I love that. I'm not hating. But, and it's fucked up, too, because my team, I had no expectations, and we went all the way to the Super Bowl and lost. And, like, I couldn't even be mad because they just gifted me with one of the greatest seasons as a fan. Just being a season ticket holder, not even having no expectations, you know what I mean? It was just one of those things where it's like, and then now all these people have all these expectations, and I'm like, I'm still in the same mode. I'm like, look, it's probably, there's a good chance it doesn't write out the same way that I think it is. You know what I mean? Same way none of these motherfuckers thought it was going to end up like that. And with that said, I told shout out to my boy Jasper, Jazzy McFly. He's a diehard Cowboy fan. And I told him today about the reverse jinx. I said, because he's the one who told me this is the first year I'm not predicting the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. And I laugh. I go, oh, now you're adopting the reverse jinx? And he goes, what's that? And I'm like, oh, he honestly didn't know. I'm like, oh, well, it's something I always done over the years. I would say my Niners ain't shit. and then we become something, and I'll just be quiet. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm hitting him with the reverse jinx. But the reverse jinx is really because I'm a realist, and I'm just stating the obvious. Like, look, this is a good chance that we're not going to be good. And then if we are good and we become good, I reserve the right to change my opinion. And that's how I feel about the Cowboys right now. Like, people might be pleasantly surprised with Mike McCarthy. Then there's also the other side of things where people like myself could be, who say, well, Mike McCarthy had Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, he's our fellow Sagittarius, December 4th. Right? Same birthday as December 3rd, I mean. Right before Jay-Z. But Aaron Rodgers, a Sagittarius motherfucker, he, in my opinion, purposely fucked shit up to get the fuck rid of Mike McCarthy. Because he, no, seriously. You know what I mean? And then, just because it was a motherfucker that was like expecting his arm to do everything. And with that said, I love the fact that Mike McCarthy is going to a young Dak Prescott because they tried to do everything on Dak's arm as well. You know what I mean? So in fantasy wise, I love it. In reality, we'll see. You know what I mean? I think Kellen Moore is up and coming as a play caller and offensive coordinator. But Mike McCarthy, he's a retread. And in all honesty, like without being a Niner fan, I would say I think it's 100% an upgrade from Jason Garrett.
All right.
Well,
that's where I'm at.
So, now we're wrapping it up. Go ahead and we're going to close out. Let the playmakers know something you want to leave them off with. Hit them off with some of that ism.
We're living in a crazy time. It's also a very opportunistic time, a very unique time to actually win. Whenever there's chaos, there's opportunity. So quiet your mind, quiet your soul, and look at what needs to be done. And there's an opportunity to do it.
Woo!
Handle that.
I'm going to run that back. He said, this is the time to seize opportunity, playmakers. I know the world is going through some shit, and this is the time as humankind that we can come together as one. We're not close to that at all as we speak, but we are going to promote that. And I'm also going to vouch for what my man's, the playmaker as fuck himself, Sundown Charlie, the Clev MC, he cleverly said, opportunity is key. And right now, there's an opportunity for all of us, whatever it may be, to help the next man, to even just being in confinement. You're helping. You're taking your opportunity and you're to help. Whether it's just staying inside, because right now, as humankind, we all need to just make this thing right. There's none of us really know what the fuck is going on. All we know is that it's all affecting all of us. You know what I mean? And with that said, from the comfort of your own confinement, because of this corona shit, you're gonna check out all our goddamn content. I want y'all to subscribe to all our channels. Follow us on all platforms. Follow us at the GMM Network. Follow me at Bogard Scott Free World. Follow my man Clev MC. Go ahead and sound off the social medias that you want them to fuck with you on. Yo, did we lose him?
Oh, no, I'm here.
Okay,
Whatever.
Yeah, go ahead and shout out all the social medias that you need them to follow you on.
Word. It's very simple. At Clev MC on IG. At Clev MC at IG. That's the profile. at Head Nod. And check out Audible Soul on iTunes. And soon, Sundown Charlie on iTunes. There it is.
Blah, 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 blah. My brother.
All right.
My brother,
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Bogard,
you.
man.
Thank you.
My brother.
I don't know how I could thank you even more, bro. Like, this was a hell of an episode. I'm about to hit him off with a bit of Church. You know what I mean? Go ahead and tell him who produced Church and who's on the track.
Yo, it's yours truly as well as Mr. Epic on Church, produced by Ready Rock, the extraordinaire.
For sure. My guy. Much love. You know what I'm saying? I can't even say in words how much I appreciate you. You are definitely someone who inspires me, and you are an innovator, and I love following in the footsteps of innovators, and I am fortunate that one of the innovators I'm following in his footsteps just so happens to be sponsoring the GMM network, and that's at www.milkandhoneytx.com for all your CBD greatness. It's your one and only line to CBD infamy. You know what I'm saying? Infamy even. All those words. Oh, my brother Clev, my brother Sundown Charlie. It was a pleasure and an honor. This is only part 1, or maybe part 1 and 2. Because I bet you Ep will tell me to split it into 2, but you know what?
I think you should split it into 2.
Oh yeah, and then I'll definitely have you on part 3 to catch up with you down the road. My brother, much love. Ah man, I really am ecstatic for people to hear this because there's a lot of good isms. It's a hell of a story. I'm glad to be part of that timeline, whether it be recent or not. I'm in it. Boom. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, B. Have a good night, my brother. Enjoy. Be blessed.
Peace.
Peace.
And once again, that was Clev MC, a.k.a. Sundown Charlie. All right, check this out. Subscribe to the channel, all that shit. You know what I mean? Activate or hit the notifications bell, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I fuck with you Playmakers. I know you fuck with us regardless. I hate being the guy trying to hoard the brand. You know what I'm saying? Whether it may be, but you know what? We're about to play. I'm going to play some music. And man. Oh, oh, yep, he sent it. Yeah. It's time to blap. Blappage. Yes, send it. Hey. Woo. This is Church, Audible Soul, or, Clev MC, Sundown Charlie, featuring EP on collab. Produced by Ready Rock.
Christ life forever. It's clever MC, but the Clev sound better. It was with my better aim that I let my cheddar flame over various business models. Got big dreams.
Woo!
Damn, it's insane. A local kid made it rain. Nothing's ever changed. My ambition is incredible. Rhyme patterns edible. Niggas is predictable. It's like I'm centrifugal. My flow defies gravity.
Woo!
I focused on my cheddar. Many lives got better. Didn't stick to the letter. Holy Spirit made it plain. The game ain't the same, the quality is crumbling. I'm nice with the verse, never catch a nigga mumbling. True to my word, never ever see me stumbling. I'm a city on the hill, shining bright. We having churches.
Hey. Okay. Playmaker shit, baby. Hey.
To all the hours spent,
shout out to F.
All the love and care to the dreams of our forefathers, the pride of our ancestors. ancestors, building up our sons, lifting up our daughters with that knowledge of self. Peace and equality, it's not a novelty, but oh, pardon me if you disagree. It can make it hard for you to see. So set your mind free like limbs of a tree. They tried to bury us, we never lost our trust. It's really all of us, though they rather see you bleed than give you what you need. Motivated by creeds.
Okay.
In this fight like creed, just a whole different breed. On a mission, ambition is tradition. Follow with a vision. If you're
Ambition is tradition.
The price of admission isn't a token. If you're broken, doors are open. If you're hoping for the victory.
Woo! He said ambition is tradition. God fucking damn it, Playmakers. Ambition is tradition.